Stay tuned after the show for information about our upcoming FNRad fundraiser featuring a Death Label 2026 PJ Gustafson Pro model and a pair of Union Ultras. FNRad is presented by Flojoy water, which is purified by granite rocks. Flojoy, a true gift of nature, and Chris Roach. And Essential Toothpaste Tablets, travel-ready, eco-friendly toothpaste your taste buds will enjoy. Wired Snowboards factory in Vancouver builds high-quality custom snowboards for about the same price as other brands' regular boards. I've created several one-of-a-kind wired customs, including a Chase 162 that's seen hundreds of my best powder days. Get yourself a game-changing snowboard and join the Wired team with Devin Walsh, Sasha Daly, and many others. Wired Snowboards. For more information, go to wiredsnowboards.com. Fixed bindings are effing rad. The comfort, performance, and quality of fixed bindings stokes me out every time I snowboard. Their commitment to making bindings that work amazingly and give you no issues puts Fix ahead of other binding brands. It's just that simple. Buy fixed bindings at an authorized dealer or go to fixbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish is the coolest new stop on your way to Whistler. Bluebird offers quality board tunes using state-of-the-art equipment, premium rentals for every level of rider with demos of Burton step-ons, and award-winning coffee and incredible smoothies. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and lots of charm, stop by Bluebird in Squamish and get your board tuned at the newest mandatory stop on your way to Whistler. Anon snow goggles enhance and protect your vision with unmatched optical clarity. Anon's Magnatech quick lens change technology allows you to swap lenses with ease. All Anon goggles are engineered to deliver no fog days and pair perfectly with Anon helmets and MFI magnetic face masks. Get yourself the best goggles at an authorized Anon dealer near you. Support also comes from our friends at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Check out boardroomshop.com and use code FNRad10 for 10% off regular priced items and FNRad5 for 5% off sale items. 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scof. FNRad20 saves you 20% off at 1910.com. New Greens, the superfood green drink sourced from American farms. Use code FNRAD for 20% off at newgreens.com. I want to thank DeKine Snowboard outerwear, travel bags, and backpacks, Rip Curl's Anti-Series outerwear, and our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their support. I've had Sean Kearns on FNRad a lot, and I thought ending Season 10 with him would be cathartic. So I went back and listened to our conversations in chronological order, and it was really interesting. Sean's done a lot of work on himself and continues to grow as a human who cares deeply for those around him. And my obsession with celebrity snowboarders of the 80s and 90s and the recognition of each person's unique contributions dovetails nicely with Kearns and his ongoing search to define who he is. At least that's the story I'm telling myself. I think he's helped me along my own path of self-discovery more than almost anyone. I think he sees me, which is the ultimate human gift, to put your attention on someone who's not you with curiosity and caring. I have a lot of people who care about me in my life. Both my parents are still alive, and both my children too, thankfully. My wife is a gift to my life every day, and slowly but surely I'm coming around to being curious about the person who is me from a place of compassion. Oh, and you guys. What can I say about the support and love I feel from seeing the number of people who download FNRad? How can I express my gratitude for every person who said something encouraging about listening to the show in online comments or in real life? Thank you. From my heart. And I think Sean Kearns has something to say that may be important to some of you out there in listener land. Maybe most of you. There's a full-on battle for our attention right now, and multi-billion-dollar corporations are spending unimaginable amounts of money trying to hook us. I have to admit they've got me, but not always. Not when I'm really out there in nature, not when I'm snowboarding, not when I'm interviewing and editing FNRad. So the story I'm telling myself is that you're listening because you love snowboarding, and that is self-care. I haven't paid to get into your ears or in front of your eyes. I made FNRad with love for you and for myself. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we need to do some talking so that the
Okay, yeah.
register.
Tell me 1,
Yeah,
2,
it's
chunt,
blowing
3, 6,
out.
19, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Dialed.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do one more check on social media for questions, because I
Okay.
put out a call today. I think I got 10 questions.
Oh, sweet.
And then Danny sent one in. Still waiting to hear from Jim.
Oh, Jim.
Give me a
Yeah,
break.
no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Flojoy, I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
It's Chris Roach, Ryder Roach, his son, who inherited his style, by the way.
Yeah.
So Ryder rides like his dad and rips. The catchphrase for it is fucking something about style. Choose your style, right?
Sick, yeah.
Choose your style of water. It's about hydrating. It's about flow in the mountains, about joy in your life. And they support the Revert Foundation, which is Roach is intimately tied with those guys, gets kids out on the hill.
Sick.
Families that can't afford to send their kids up snowboarding,
Sick.
and skiing. He's intimately involved with that too. But this is, so Mark Kowalchuk did the art for this, the tree guy,
Yeah.
which is, we'll have to have
No,
Chris
it's
on the show
insane,
to talk
dude.
about it. Yeah, and it's doing really, really well. Actually, it's doing well across the Grass Valley,
That's a
where they're
positive
from.
vibe, dude.
He's got a big RV that he drives around and delivers water to all these independent stores for
The
now.
mystical Chris Roach. Dude, that in itself, what you're saying is good style. Like,
Yes.
like that's good style. You're helping people. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets it, man.
Sounds like it.
More than anyone I ever really met. Watching him ride with Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the kind of dad where I don't think my kid would ever say the words, my dad doesn't let me, I'm not allowed to, anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if my kid's like, what do you think about Coke? I'm like, it's not good for me, but if you want to try it, I'll get you some that's clean. We'll get it tested and you can try it out. It's like 50 coffees and
Coke, I'd say don't.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, no, we're different. We'd be different parents, I think, you and I, right?
Well,
But this is about a story about Chris. Like
Yeah.
Ryder Roach was like, my dad's not letting me get my license yet. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
that wasn't a fucking option for my parents. I had my license when I was 16 in a day. My full license.
so his dad's actually engaged in his life, though. That's a big difference.
And the raddest thing about it, too, was that also one of the things that Chris Roach appeared to not let his kid do is ride with whack style. Like, so if his kid did something, a nose bonk with a Tindy grab, he's like, grab right on that tail, kid, or don't grab it. If you don't have enough time in the air to grab,
do
don't
that.
fucking grab it.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go. What?
Okay, so here's if with your permission, I'm going to ask you 10 questions from listeners around the world.
Okay.
And wherever the conversation goes, the conversation goes. I have one story I want to squeak in there that I started this morning about one of the nicest moments of my life that I had with my mom in the last year, which is sick.
Okay, well, hold on. The thing I want to talk, the only thing I want to
Please.
say something about is this swear jar first.
Okay, yeah, to explain the swear jar.
So I noticed in the last interview I swore like out a lot, and I'm like, holy, I didn't even, and I know I can get in those spots, and I don't even know I'm doing it, and I don't want to do that. And what I've learned is that the reason I swear like that is because I think I'm scared. I think that's what it is. When I'm saying F every second word, it's like a subconscious way to keep other people on guard. And I don't want to be scared, and I don't want to be saying F every second word. I do like it when it's called for, but any time that I swear, I've got money to throw in this jar, and we're going to pull some Pavlov dog stuff. See, I almost said
it's close.
we're gonna pull some Pavlov dog stuff, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. I'm not going to be very good at catching
We'll
the swears.
catch it. We'll know.
But
We'll
And
see
do
how
you
much
call
it
them
tweaks me.
swears?
You know the funny part is I'll probably like not be able to talk, and it's like Well, wait a minute. If I can't use the primer, I can't really. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I love it. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool that you're recognizing that as a strategy that you've used that you want to eliminate. I
just don't. All it is just an unconscious.
I guess I just.
It's an unconscious pattern that I have, and I want to break it. So
killer.
We'll try Pavlov dog method.
Dude, I would love it if we got to that story that you told me this morning about JP and all that, and I'll just tease it here to say it out loud because hanging out with you is one of the pinnacle experiences of my life, whether it's in a group at the Haven, whether it's on a fucking bus, whether it's in a park. We've never been on a bus together or at a park together. Actually, we have the park. But the conversations I have with you have led to big changes in my life. And not the smallest of them being that the things that I hold in my mind about other people, I had never been told before that those are just things you hold in your mind. They're not real because I tell myself they're real and I tell myself Sean Kearns is this, and getting to know you, more importantly, getting to be curious about the person that you are has been a fucking unlock to something really important in my life. That's, as those things, as it came in, a lot of opportunities opened up for me to have some real healing in my life, which whatever. Cool. I got to change my life into something that I enjoy a lot more now. I am now back to what I was when I was a kid, when all I wanted was to be alive. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to wake up in the morning. I didn't even want to go to bed. I wanted to stay up all night and just be alive all day, every day. And I had forgotten what that even would feel like. And I've had it for a couple of years, and I am bragging about it because it's fucking cool. It is cool. And I'm swearing like crazy, so there must be something behind the scenes. Whatever. Okay. So I think we got a couple of formalities out of the way there, and I'll go to the first question if you're cool with that.
Yeah, so people, I think I asked you originally, just like I would love for some people to ask some questions, and mostly it's not like I'm some prophet who can give the answers. It's more like I'd like to know what some people, if they could hear something they'd want to ask, then why not?
Super sick.
Instead of me being like, this is what I think you should hear. Because anyway. Okay, cool.
So what happened for me when you said that, I was like, great idea. And I tucked it away in my mind. And then I was having a hard time with it because I'm like, when do I ask people, right? Like when you invite people to a party. I grew up without some of the social guidelines of what traditional parenting is designed to give people. It's a nice way of saying my mom had mental wellness issues, and because of that, I've struggled with certain things. Like a party, I've never thrown one. I don't want to invite people. I don't really want them in my messy shit, because when people see my messy shit, I feel judged and I feel embarrassed. So I didn't know when to ask. But this morning, I just Googled Whiskey 2 Kearns part, clipped it up, put it up there with the Ask Kearns Anything, and got some great engagement. The first hour or so, 1,000 people watched the video. It was long, two minutes, so it got a lot of watch time. People watch it through, which means that they're engaged with it and they want to see it.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
Like as someone with a content creation platform, you're supposed to be watching engagement. And Kearns, just awesome. The name gets the engagement. And I knew putting that part up was sick.
Well, it's funny because I wanted to talk to you about that part.
Yeah.
And I'd never even talked to you about it. So
well, let's start there, because one of the people that reached out with a comment that wasn't a question was Chris Rasman. And I think you would know Rudy Rasman.
Yeah, I know Rudy Rasman. I know Chris Rasman too.
Good. Yeah,
I surfed with Chris Rasman.
No, of course you did.
I lent him gas so he could get back home in Tofino.
That's fucking amazing.
He was rad. He's good friends with Noah too. Like Noah and I lived up on the beach there north of Tofino for a couple weeks together, and then Chris came out and visited. Yeah.
That's Noah Cohen, the very famous Canadian surfer.
Yeah. He's an agent now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Huh. What a neat thing. He knows you. You were an agent. Now he's an agent.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, that's the way that works sometimes, I guess, hey?
Yeah.
So Rasman just said, sick song. I should quote him, but I'm not going to say it. He said, the Comfortably Numb live thumbs up or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm making him sound lame. He said something cool because he's a cool dude.
What did he say? Nice song?
Let me quote it. He said, live version of Comfortably Numb clapping hand emoji.
Sweet.
So then I wrote, and this is just going to lead you into what you just said, or what you wanted to talk about. Rumor has it they were trying to make fun of his move away from tricks by showing just turns, but it backfired when they set it to Pink Floyd and created one of the earliest Whistler backcountry soul riding parts.
Sick.
That's exactly what it is.
I put 3 nickels in for your 3 F-bombs.
Mine?
Yeah.
You need more money than that.
No, we're good. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So.
Thanks. Yes.
Anyway, no, that's sick. So rumor has it. So there kind of is a question there, right?
That's a question from me.
Yeah.
That's from me, because I'm like, I remember you telling me the story of Beat Stein, who shot it, and of the intention behind giving you a barely in the air powder turn part. But then when I'm looking at it, I'm going, hey, man boys, Whistler Backcountry, the big thing that they've got going is their cinematography is dead on. And that part, cinematography, dead on.
Dead on. Yeah,
Dead on.
Well, you want to talk about that?
Please
part?
tell why is the cinematography so good? Let's start.
Well,
there.
I'll tell you about the whole thing. Like that.
Please.
That. I love this saying. It's like, have you ever noticed all the great stuff that's happened to you? You had nothing to do with it, and all the shit, my fingerprints are all over it. And I got to tell you that there's some truth to what Rasmus said. Is so what actually happened was, like, I was just basically a full-blown alcoholic in whiskey 2, and I didn't start filming till whiskey 3. So I was like making the movies. I was like getting sleds ready. I was actually, we weren't even into sledding. We were barely into sledding at that point, maybe. But I was just basically organizing stuff because I knew how to produce stuff. So whether it's building a wall or producing a movie, I just know how to get stuff done. It's in my bones. So. And then I needed some footage because I think, Santa Cruz did the artwork, and they also, I think, sponsored the movie, and I didn't have any footage. And the only snowboarding that I'd done that anybody had filmed that was worth anything maybe was, that was like, I think from the year before maybe, or early in the year. And Bayet had filmed. We knew nothing about it. We knew nothing about how the footage looked, whether I got something good. But the guy died on that trip. Do you know that? Oof. In Blem's book, he talks about Brian Savard and Alex Warburton being there, and a guy died. Well, there's actually some stuff in that, in the recall of what Blem wrote about it is incorrect to my memory.
To your memory.
It's not a bag on it because his books and his research. Like, I've read all his books because of the Craig Kelly one.
Yes.
So it's not a slag on him.
None.
I had a different experience, and and it's not good or bad or right or wrong, but so basically that guide did what we started riding, and Alex, and it was me, Alex Warburton, Brian Savard, and the way I remember it is he started us off really slow, like really just wanted to check us out, see if we listened. Like, he was good guide, really good guide, and then he basically saw that we actually respected him, and we weren't being clowns and idiots, and we paid attention, and so he started taking us to better and better stuff. And I just happened to have some good days of riding, and the snow was good. And I wasn't even really supposed to be on that trip. I think Dano just invited me last minute. So then Bayet filmed, and then.
Can I just interject that he's the guy that's top billing producer, director guy for Board with the World, right? Craig Kelly said.
Well, he also owns Bella Coola Heli Skiing, and he also. So they used to own Adventure Scope.
Yes.
So Board with the World, him and Jock used to own Adventure Scope. So this is funny. Oof. So I'm like desperate for footage.
Yeah.
And I just remember, and so Bayet and I have always had a pretty good connection. Jock didn't care much for me. I didn't care for Jock, but Bayet and I always had this like deep soul connection. And so I hit up Adventure Scope, and I'm like, hey, like that, they'd thrown that footage in the garbage. Right. It was gone.
Yeah.
And so I hit up Jock, and I think I said, like, dude, total, like, had no idea what it looked like, anything. And I was like, hey, do you guys have that footage or whatever? And then he's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you. And I think they sold it to us for $500. They put it on a reel. I didn't even see it. Sent it down to Johnson. Johnson and Mouse were totally trying to work me and being like, basically, I'm a washed up loser.
Sick.
Like, but not
Sick.
not really like we were all laughing at ourselves. It was all
Yes.
but like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
What if we do this?
I wasn't even trying to
thing.
pull off
Yeah,
a legitimate snowboard part at that point.
Absolutely, right.
So then they put it together and they were like howling about it, like how small the errors were, and,
Yes.
and everything. And then they sent it back, and then but the thing was that the way. So none of this was supposed to happen at all. Like the guy died, the footage was shot, it was put in the garbage.
Do you want to tell the guide story, or is that because that rocked me to my fucking guts? I still think about that from time to time.
I mean,
and I tell the story, so maybe it's pretty personal, and it's a pretty gnarly way to start out.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, it's just all I can say is that guy was in tune with us. And he was sick. We were having a good time. Everything was good. And then it was just this total freak of nature where we landed in the heli, and then there's so much more to the story that I don't really want to talk about. Good. But we were back at a place where we'd gone to our second time, and this cornice, we were looking at a chute below it. And there was this cornice, and this cornice was huge. Like, it was as big as you've ever seen cornice. Like, we're flying up to it, we're looking at the chute, and the cornice is like, I don't know, a soccer field wide. And then, like, even just the overhang, it was one of these things that just blown up. And there was a lake below us, so I'm sure the wind was coming across the lake, shooting and just accumulating, right? And then there was something to do with a tree. Like, we landed the heli, and there was this tree that was sticking up. So I think they figured that on this side of the tree, because they parked way, way back, right? Mm-hmm. And then Bayet and I, the way I have it remembered, Bayet and I went off to the side, and right when we left, and or we took off, and like, oh yeah, because we were going to go around the side to film, or I can't remember. We already had a predetermined path because we'd already been there. Went around, and then apparently as soon as we went, the cornice went, and it was from like basically right where the heli had landed, like very close. He'd only taken a few steps out the passenger side basically, and we were on the other side, and then the world disappeared in front of Alex and everybody, like a soccer field disappeared in front of you. The whole thing went down, and so yeah, that was just like, God, I mean, just that incident alone saved so many lives later for me, because when I was in the backcountry, I learned so much of how badly shit like that can go. I kept so many people away from certain things and stuff, even though like, don't worry about it. It's like, dude, no. Like, extra. This guy was highly skilled beyond I will ever be in the backcountry, and he died. So just that incident alone passed on to me, like, you have no idea what you're fucking doing back here. And so anyway, that's what I got from that. But anyway, so then that happened, and yeah, and that was pretty insane, that whole thing. Like, and something that affected, because that was before, actually that's the first time I saw a sled track out there, and it was like that or that other cat skiing thing, but either way I saw a sled track. I'm like, whatever. So that also, there's so much happened at that time, like holy we can get back here, like all that. And then this guy dies, which is like, and then the cops come and have to interview us. Meanwhile, I'm most wanted in Whistler, so the cops are like staring at me in this, so gnarly, like the dude's wife is walking up the freaking road. And like it was hectic. Like, they had to lie to us when we got to a certain point in the whole thing. They were actually smart. They lied to us and said that he was okay, because they had to get the other groups out of there without panicking. So they said he's okay. They had to leave us there to go pick us up. So they had to say he's okay. So then when I saw Savard, who's the one who went and found him, and I went up to him like, dude, he's okay. And he's like, no, dude, he's not okay. And I'm like, what? So it was just like so confusing and messy. That
Savard story to me is just, that guy is a hero of all heroes.
Oh, the one so what happened, the part I haven't told you that, so this shoot that we deemed undoable
shoot.
They, like, so Bayet and I were off to the side, and then and of course this is my memory, right?
Yes.
Like, and traumatic experiences and memory. Like there's a book called Trauma and Memory that every person can read because your memory is just gets so messed with.
Trauma and
Memory by Peter Levine. It's all about what we remember and what actually happened, or can be very different things.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and just understanding humans. And so, and what happened was Bate and I were off to the side, and then I think Alex came and was just like, there's been an avalanche, something like that. And then Savard just did this, like all I saw was Savard do this GS turn at as fast as you can go, and then he pointed it down that chute, like the thing that we probably deemed undoable. He was like, no, and just pointed it. I remember that. I just remember him coming around a big turn, and just I was like, something like what just happened? Like so many things. Like now as I'm saying it, so many things just happened that weren't supposed to happen, including him going down that chute, like whatever.
Yeah.
And then he went and found him.
Yep. And
then I actually went to get the helicopter, and then I was up on this peak, and they were out on a lake with another crew. I was waving, and there's a whole nother story of why I didn't have a radio. And then basically the heli flew up above me, and then I was just like pointing at the direction. They took off, and then they went and saw what was going on. They brought Brian back, I think, but then they said, you need to shut up. We need to get these other people out of here, because they had a whole nother group. And you don't want them panicking, and you have to keep the live alive, right?
It's unbelievable.
And so then they pulled those guys out, and then they came back and they took us out, and then we're getting interviewed. And then I got the cops walking up to me who want me in jail, basically, because they're trying to kick me out of Whistler.
Yep.
And I'm like sitting there, and they're like just bummed because they have to actually ask me about this instead of like all this other stuff.
They're like, here he is.
Yeah, and I'm dying. I'm like, this sucks.
This is a terrible thing.
No, and I'm like, I very much have that. This is more important than whatever crap we've got between us and whatever. So,
yep.
And I really don't know what was really going on in the cops' head, because they were just doing their job too. They had to deal with the wife. They had to deal with people. So it's not like they were bad. They had to deal with the stuff too.
Not. Right.
So yeah, I mean that was that, and it was
so was there some part of you that just wanted to forget about that footage, or was it when you called Adventure Scope, you're like, nah, maybe that footage will be all right. I'll just.
No, not at all, because I actually have a very positive memory of, his name was Bert, and I have a very positive memory of him and how he was treating us. And, Alex and Savard and Bade are all pretty respectable guys. And like
Absolutely.
this guy's, we have our life in this guy's hands, so we respected him. So it was, I remember it being very much, sometimes you get with guides and you get in helicopters and stuff, and there's like a crunchiness. This was the opposite. It was like flow. It was like he totally trusted us. And anyway, so then, Sean put that footage out, and then actually, so there it is, like this is kind of a bit vulnerable or transparent to say, but I would have been really bummed if I'd done everything I'd done in snowboarding and didn't have that. But I love that footage. I don't mind saying it. I love it. It's not, that's how I snowboarded. And there's one shot in there particular that just like, I'm like, that's how I snowboard. And
the cover of Transworld that Mark Morissette got.
Yeah, same kind of thing, right? And that's where Maury and me used to ride like that. Like you just do all these wings out.
Sick, dude.
And so I'm proud of that.
I put it up as my story today.
Yeah,
because
I'm proud of it. I'm not like arrogant, like, oh, I'm sick. It's just no, there was
you should be proud of that.
And so look at that. Like it had to be like Bayet, how he filmed.
Yes.
Because if you'd filmed that, but if Sean Kearns had filmed that powder footage, it would have been a black speck in the middle of a big white screen, and you wouldn't have seen nothing. Meanwhile, Bayet's using an Airflex. I think he had 2 Makita batteries on it to make the motor run faster, because they only went to 40 frames, and that's slower. Like, so so it's all a big accident.
And the song,
and then
when the song goes together, it hits these points.
Yeah, Sean and them. Yeah.
That when I first saw that, I put in my story, okay, these whiskey guys, they put out Whiskey 1, and in my snowboard video critic opinion, it's a piece of shit if you're watching it to see snowboard.
Yeah.
It's a paradigm shifting movie, but it's from a snowboarding perspective, it's like, fuck, Kevin Young's got one shot that's kind of fuzzy and out of focus, and and he's the best in the world right now. And then Whiskey 2.
Depends on who you're talking
to. Sure. And this is just my opinion. Then Whiskey 2, I'm telling people, these guys wanted to show that they actually fucking snowboard like the best in the world. And I'm thinking about your part. That's what I'm talking about. I'm like, this is
well,
like...
that was Whiskey 2, right?
That was Whiskey 2. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Whiskey 2 to me became this, like, look, we know we didn't put enough snowboarding in the first one. We're going to do snowboarding that's killer and the stunts that are fucking hilarious.
So that's actually not what happened. What actually happened was we fluked out and got some footage. And it wasn't fluke. I mean, so many things happened there that I'm just like, I would be some kind of an asshole to think that something bigger than me is not taking care of me, because I can tell you this, I shouldn't be alive. Like, out of anybody who knows that, I should not be alive. Like, like it's not doable. So there's just like, you know, I'm not going to go God on you, but I'm just going to go, okay, look, I refuse to just be an asshole and go, wow, the best things that have happened to me, something's taking care of me. And I've been very fortunate, and I'm not going to sit there and piss on that, because same with my mother moving to North Vancouver and moving above Sealand. Sealand saved my life. How did that happen? What happened if I hadn't have found that? I mean, I was recently with JP, we were doing some work together, and we were on a team of people, and he was like, we were in a room with a bunch of people who were hurting. Not everybody, but a lot of people are hurting. And he's just like, I just am like, I think he had tears, and I was like, I get to see how effed up my life would be if I didn't have skateboarding as my true north, this thing that kept me in the right direction the whole time. Right. And so it's just like, yeah, and somehow my dad gave me a skateboard when I was 7 years old. When I was 7 years old, dude, that's like 1974 or something like that. Like, whatever. There wasn't even skateboards. My dad hands me a skateboard.
Killer.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's been moments in my life that have saved my life, and I had nothing to do with them.
That's sick.
So, except taking the opportunity when given. Even like, you know, you got to show up. I had to phone Adventure Scope. I had to ask for the footage. I had to send. You got to be willing to do something. You got to show up.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and be like, duh. Like, nothing ever good happens to me. You got to try. Like, at least give it an effort.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's cool. Rasman, hey, that's dope to hear.
Love Rasman. Love. I haven't met his dad yet, but I want to have his dad on the show. It's people have strong opinions about his dad from back in those days. Yeah. He's a polarizing character of the North Vancouver snowboard first wave.
Yeah, he was. Oh, yeah, I know, dude. I saw him up at Cypress when I was working in the cafeteria. And
dope.
And, you know, Rudy was a windsurfer.
Yeah.
So he was a windsurfer, snowboarder.
Sick. Who
cares, dude?
Yeah.
He was doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sick.
All right, here's a real legit question from Deepage. How can the joy and, quote, flow state, insert hippie voice, I experience in snowboarding, where I feel completely immersed and free, be applied as a tool to break patterns of self-sabotage and improve my mental well-being? Great question. Thanks, Deepage.
Dude, that's a good question, man. Did he say joy?
Flow state.
Flow state. He didn't say joy.
No, he did. How can the joy and flow state?
That's funny. So incredible.
I think I was supposed to say
almost everything that we're
state.
talking about, I thought about today or last night. So this is like, how do you turn the word joy? Because ultimately, how do you turn that into, say it again at the end there? What's the question? How can the joy and flow state I experience in snowboarding, where I feel completely immersed and free, be applied as a tool to break patterns of self-sabotage and improve my mental well-being? Sweet. So, in my opinion, the first thing is, I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of people. Let's just say, I'm going to use this term, I haven't thought of a better one, but civilians, people who don't skateboard and snowboard and they haven't had. So what I would say, first of all, is, first of all, be so grateful, because so many people don't even know what joy feels like in their bodies. So you've already got the feeling, you know, the feeling, you know, you have this true north of like how, not how, you don't want to feel like that all the time, because then you wouldn't know it. But how do you use it as a true north? Well, you know what feeling joy, because that's what it is. It's like, call it somatic or whatever, but no, it's like you're putting it all together, your brain, your body, the feeling, the inertia, the movement, all that, connection with your friends, all that. So you know what feels good. Therefore, you would know what doesn't feel good. So trust your body. You've already got this thing. So here's one. Get on your computer or your phone for 2 hours and scroll Instagram and Facebook or whatever, and then see how you feel. And you'll be like, well, I'm not feeling I know that I don't feel too much joy at that point. Even if I'm watching skate and snowboard stuff, I don't feel too much joy because I don't feel good in my body. So then there you go. Okay. Well, I have this thing of since I know what joy is, I know what doesn't bring me joy. And then remove those things from your life or tailor them. And because ultimately what happens with snowboarding and skateboarding and all that kind of stuff is presence. Like you become fully present, especially when you go fast. It's like, I don't know if anybody ever has it, but you go fast, like, so you have the sense of being okay. And ultimately where I'm at now, what I've got, it's kind of tripping me out, is if I can, whatever I can to bring myself present to the present moment, there's that joy. I don't need to be pinning it. Like I've rediscovered joy in snowboarding. It's the craziest thing. I was like, I'm done with snowboarding. Well, that's because it was all like, I have to be in a helicopter and I got to do this and I got to have JP and Devin and Bjorn next to me to be happy snowboarding. And this winter on Mount Washington, which is not really that gnarly of a hill, I had a moment with my chick and her kid and my friend Jim and this Lance and my friend Josh, and we were all together and we rode the flattest run on the hill and the sun came out and everybody was riding at their own levels, and I was just like, I think I even wiped out, like whatever, and then just doing turns and stuff, and I'm just like, how is it that I'm so stoked right now? Anyway, we're all high-fiving in the lift line.
Love it.
As if it was like, JP just landed a 1080 off the form gap. It was that kind of joy. Yeah. And it's like, so the answer to that is, what it feels like. So use that as a true north to what brings you joy. And it's ultimately something that'll bring you present. And as you get older, try to find things that bring you present and see if you can find the joy in them without it having to come from, oh, this is sick, this is the dopest thing, I need to do a 1080 or something, or like whatever. Just where's the stoke there? How's that? Sure. Where's the stoke? And it's like that would be my answer to that, is you basically get on your knees and thank whoever that you've had that, because so many people have never. And the most stuffed emotion that I've seen over years, I've been doing this stuff, like working at places and with people longer than I snowboarded. Like, I mean, I've snowboarded the whole time, but I've been doing this, like immersed in it. And the number one emotion that is stuffed is joy. Nice. I find people who are like 50, 60 years old and they don't even allow themselves to have joy because our culture doesn't really value it. It's like, no, man, like, what do you mean joy? No, you can't be happy. You're supposed to be miserable. How can you be happy when all this negative shit happening in the world? You're supposed to be miserable. No, I'm not. I don't think you're really doing anybody any good if you're just being miserable. So. Right.
Yeah, I noticed because I quit my job and my goal was for it to be the weekend all the time. And that was my first thing. Yeah. And then I realized fairly quickly that you don't get a weekend if you didn't work all week. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, so my joy being the weekend was juxtaposed to a deliberate not joy, which is my work week, in order for me to feel happy. Mm-hmm. But then I'm not happy on the weekends if I have to work because I'm thinking, fuck, I got to work on Monday. Yeah. You know what I mean, there's a swear jar one.
That's okay. Here, hold on. We'll give you a nickel. So that's interesting because if you know what joy feels like, stoke.
Yes.
So look for the joy, look for it, and you know what it feels like. So for me, I had to create tangible results in my life to have joy. So that's why I went back and building rammed earth homes and stuff. And I was doing all this stuff because I'm like, that brings me joy. Like at the end of the day, Like I built those planter boxes over there.
Yes.
I can see that brings me joy.
Doing a thing.
You know, it doesn't bring me joy staring at my phone instead of building those planter boxes.
This is with my own life, my most important. So I didn't spend a lot of time worrying about me and my thing, but when my kids were born, I remember holding my son in my hands. Mm-hmm. The moment before he took his first breath, he was underwater, and I'm looking at his face, and I'm like, I got you, bro. Like, I got you. And I mean it. Yeah. And so one of the things I was frustrated with him was he wanted to play video games all the time. Well, then I heard a podcast that, you know, Google or somewhere had done a study into the basic needs of human beings. Yeah. And what they need is 3 basic things, according to Google. And that's like a challenge in which you learn and grow. Yeah. And there's feedback that shows you're getting better. Mm-hmm. And autonomy in that to be who you want to be in that, right? Like, so that's how they build video games that are addictive. Yeah. So when my son comes home from school, where he's not allowed to go to the bathroom without holding his hand up, and then after school, he's in after school care where he can't go over there without asking this person. Mm-hmm. He's basically on complete lockdown. Yeah. He's not allowed to be who he wants to be. He gets home. Oh, and connection. Sorry. So the 3 things are a challenge with clearly, feedback. Yeah. And whoever you want to be. Uh-huh. And connection. Yeah. So he gets home. He plugs in with his friends and his cousin. He puts on the skin of his character of now he's a bunny with bunny ears and he's a girl with, whatever. He's whoever he wants to be online. And his skill level, when he's up there with those guys, people are like impressed. Oh, send Bowen into the thing. He's a better shot than us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he's getting everything he wants out of life from this video game. And now I'm on the other side going, why the hell do you want to play these video games? I put you in soccer. Well, his coach in soccer is like, fucking, you got to run laps, dude. You can't swear, Jar. You got to run laps because you didn't do what I said. Yeah. And he's at school. The teacher's like, you got to stay late because you didn't do what I said. And then he's after school in the program saying, you can't go over there even though you asked me because I don't trust you. So he's just locked in. And then for a moment, he's joyous.
He finds something that gives him all the things. Right. Yeah.
And I said to him at that moment, once I'd heard that podcast, I said, I understand why you play video games. Maybe I'd like to play with you, and connect with you on that level. But I'm no longer going to be video games are the devil.
Yeah.
From now on.
And it was different too. Like when we were younger too. Is like I remember I didn't ever watch TV. Like that was my whole thing. Like TV was for losers, basically.
Sure.
And unless you're watching a skate video or whatever. So
yep.
So, but now it's changed because when we would go to the skate park or whatever, you'd actually get real connection or go snowboarding real connection, which is
you get those things.
Like you're actually connecting with other humans. But now being a younger guy like that, you're probably getting less connection when people are distracted because you can't connect if a person's not present. So you can't, if a person's looking at a phone, the parents and all this kind of stuff, there's nothing funnier than a parent giving a kid shit for playing video games when they're addicted to their phone.
Totally.
It's funny as that's the funniest thing ever. Shit, I swear. No, it's not really. So anyway, so basically, yeah, like, and it's different now. And I had this young guy say this to me. He's like, he's getting all the crap for being like video games and stuff. And he's like, it's different now, man. I actually have friends online. Yep. Now, where I go with that is the only thing, the caution that I would say is I actually have a belief that to have joy in our lives, we need to move. Our bodies, muscles need to move. Like there's this, one of the biggest breakthroughs is that in science is they've shown that muscles excrete, is that right? Yeah. Chemicals, like when your muscles are worked, they excrete chemicals that basically are like a built-in pharmacy. They, it's the things that basically can make you feel joy. So you go do a workout, you feel really good after.
It's why you sleep well at night.
It's why you sleep well. So you go ride a bike and your biggest muscles, your thighs, are getting worked, and that's just pumping blood and all these natural chemicals and all that through. And we're outside. We're not inundated by Wi-Fi and all that kind of crap that we're not meant to be.
On that note, the thigh muscles pumping blood is actually a part of the pulmonary system.
Yes.
So if you're relying on your heart all day to pump your blood,
Yeah.
and you're not moving your legs, you're actually stressing your heart
Dude,
by
totally.
just sitting there. If you're walking, now your legs are pumping blood for your heart can take a bit of a break.
Yeah.
So like if you've got heart issues and high blood pressure, which I have, walking.
You have high blood pressure?
Don't get me started.
Oh,
Dan
don't
will
get-
probably save my life.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
But no, so I cut you off there, sorry, but
No, that was the full thought.
So how funny is that? Like being a kid now, and your parents are. I've seen this where parents are just like, he's on the phone, he's on this and that. Meanwhile, the parents are staring at their phone. The parents are not present.
Totally.
So what kind of hell is that for a kid? Like the parents not present, the kid wants connection with their parents or whoever.
Yep.
Or the kids want to get connection anywhere. They want to, but they can't because you go to this. I go to the skate park. Everybody's filming each other and stuff. A lot of that stuff's happening.
Yep.
So you're not getting it there. So then you go home and you finally get it on a video game with some friends.
Yeah.
And you're in a crew and you're like,
Yes.
this is cool.
Yeah.
Except it doesn't offer the thing where you're also getting the physical activity or where they're
Yeah.
out in nature with your shoes off and connecting to the earth, which is also really important. So
Totally.
I mean, that's like, it's kind of funny. Anybody giving kids shit for that is like, well, we
Hey,
kind of,
swear jar.
yeah, we kind of.
Oh, you said shit's not.
That's all
one,
right.
but
We kind
hit
of
it.
created this for you. It's $1. So $2 for the F bombs and
Yeah.
dollars for anything else.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, that's and you know, so what do you do with that? It's like, well, you get curious and you try to,
That's
you
a
know,
big one.
you get curious and then you also find out, like, I don't know. I don't like to try and tell anybody anything. I'd like to show them, but like honestly, going back to the guy who asked about snowboarding and joy, is you got to move because guess what you're doing when you snowboard? You were moving.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't snowboard every day because where I'm living and whatever. So I paddleboard.
Sure.
I mean, my version of paddleboarding is a little different than other people's because it's like I go for like long paddles or I go for like long bike rides where my eyes roll back in the back of my head and I turn into a psycho for an hour and it just feeds that part of me that needs to be fed. And when I have that fed once a day, I'm good. And when I don't, after a few days, I get pretty cagey. Like I like to push up against myself and things, you know, and be smart about it. Find something that works. Like riding bikes is sick. Like ride a road bike, ride a gravel bike. And dude, like something happens, I'm good.
Yeah.
And if I go a few days without it, I'm a basket case and I need to get that.
Interesting
you know?
that you know yourself that well.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to
rad.
learn what works for you. And actually something I'm really into right now is this thing called the Edison gene. And the theory is it's not ADHD. There's hunters and there's farmers.
Okay.
And people who get diagnosed with ADHD are hunters in a farmer's world.
Ha.
And every single entrepreneur in the world could be diagnosed with ADHD.
Right.
So I refuse to use that term
Cool.
because it's a disorder.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, disorder
Yeah,
against
yeah,
society.
Yeah.
Well, society sucks. like our culture is sick. Like what's cool? You get likes on this and you wear shitty shit on your face. Like our culture is sick.
That's a toonie. Shitty shit.
No, that's yeah.
That's
okay.
a buck.
Yep. And then so it's like, but the Edison gene is like, if, this guy wrote this book about it, and it's basically, we're so much more than that. And
Yes.
so I know that I would qualify as someone as an Edison gene. I'm going to say this word, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty convinced that, if I need to be, I'm a killer, meaning I will go and get what needs to get got.
Yep.
If my life's in, or my friends, family, like I'll work, I'll push through, I'll whatever. So I could be diagnosed with ADHD, or I'm just have this part of me that is kind of gnarly, and
Sure.
it can turn all emotion off and it can just go get.
Yep.
I'm a hunter. If I was born in a village, I would have been the guy killing the animals probably. So really cool to go, hey, I know I have this. And I know if I don't move, especially first thing in the morning, I get going. If I don't do that, I don't do so well because that part of me, the hunter, needs to go, hey, dude, we're good. We're solid. We fulfilled this it's like, okay, I don't need to kill something, but my body needs to know I did something.
And you're prepped.
And
You're ready.
I'm good. I'm strong. And if I don't, and I look at screens and I do all that stuff, I'm just a pile. And then guess what? Depression, anxiety.
Yes.
For sure.
Of course.
Like I absolutely tie scrolling and depression, anxiety for sure. For me is depression and anxiety for sure. So that's something that I think Edison gene's a brilliant, and there's a book
Who's that by? Tom Hartman,
but there's also one in here. This one's ADHD and the Edison gene, a drug-free approach to managing unique qualities of your children. Well, dude, what this guy says in this book is our culture is sick and we're indoctrinating our kids. And then people are telling them that there's something wrong with them. Yeah. And thank God we found skateboarding and snowboarding to go, actually, there's nothing wrong with me. You're actually jacked. So yeah, dude.
Nate Fitz, this is question number 2. And I don't love like stopping the conversation to do this, but I think you knocked that one out of the park.
Well, that one took a long time too.
No, but it was good.
I'll try and be more succinct.
Yeah, some of these are going to be easier to answer. Nate Fitz says, I'm interested in his time with Paul Check. Does he still practice a lot of stuff he picked up from Paul? What stuck? What he still uses today? How it helped his skate/snowboarding? Any good Paul stories? He's a pretty eccentric dude. The earlier podcast done with Sean and a Danny Way 9 Club podcast got me interested in the Check stuff. Currently doing my Check level 1.
Ah, dope, dude. Yeah. Saved my life. Like, God, I'll start crying. Like, that was so hard, dude. Like, that time in my life was like I had this back pain. I had this back situation, and nothing that Western medicine could do pulled me out of it. And I think I talked about it in the last podcast about how he called me a sellout. Did I say that?
I think we talked about the one didn't get out there. So
okay. Good. So anyway, basically I worked with Paul, and so the question is, do I still, yes. Like, so the words are, I think, so there's holistic and there's allopathic. I think allopathic, there's another term for it, but I think I could be wrong, but you're sick, you go to the doctor, they check your blood, they tell you to eat less cholesterol, So they're dealing with the problem.
Allopathic.
I think that's the term.
That's cool.
Like Western medicine is very focused on, so if someone, I'm not bagging on Western medicine. No. If someone like Roberta gets in an accident, you're not going to like energy centers to heal. She needs to be in a trauma thing. And they're, yes, they're doing the thing. So they saved her life. So I'm not bagging on Western medicine, but it's so much more can be done before that. So when I saw Paul, when I went down to Escondido and basically, worked with him at his place and his assistant and all that, like, first of all, like he basically said to me, he looked over at me and he said, see that thing over there? I think I've talked about this on your podcast, but anyway, he's like, see that thing over there? And I'm like, this thing? He's all, yeah. And I'm like, he's like, that thing between the two ears, the dumb thing between the two ears. And I'm like, me? He's all, yeah. He goes, that thing in its total entirety of its existence, you will never be able to understand what you're capable of, because we're such fascinating creatures. In your lifetime, you will never be able to understand what that thing is capable of. But he's like, you might want to at least read the owner's manual. And I was like, huh? And he's like, how messed up is it that you need to go to a doctor to anything when actually all the answers are inside? Like, we know, like he calls it Dr. Quiet. If you actually sit, your body will tell you. So even going back to the Joy guy talking about the snowboarding, if I'm scrolling, I know that this is not good for me, or whatever it is I do. Yep. Or if I say yes all the time and I'm nice to everybody when I really don't mean it, but then I get depressed. Okay, then you know that you're full of shit. And you know that you're full of shit. Damn. And that basically you need to start learning how to say no to people, or you need to stand up for yourself and stop being such a nice guy, which is something I want to talk about, the difference between nice and kind. We'll talk about that. But anyway, so Paul, the funniest story was I have this Zoom. First of all, so it's called holistic. What that means is, that's not an airy fairy thing. It's like I have a sore back. He's like, okay, so do you know how to breathe properly? Because do you know that your lungs touch your lower back? Are you hydrating? Do you know that your body will dehydrate? And do you know about magnesium and calcium? And do you know about how processed foods don't have these things that we used to have, and all this stuff? So basically he taught me how to look at life holistically. So when someone says to me now, like, oh, I got a bad back, I got to get a new bed, I'm like, that's allopathic. My bed's broken, my back's broken. When I'm like, what else is going on in your life? And it's like, and what Paul did, one of the funniest stories was, I remember when I filled out tons of paperwork. Like, to work with him was $500 US an hour, and he works with you minimum 20 hours at a time. So you have to pay 10 US. Like, he did this with Toss and Ben Pappas, and he did it with Danny, and like, you have to be serious about it. And then his whole thing is like, I don't want to work with people who don't want to do this work, because it's been his experience that people don't actually want to heal. And I believe that too. Yeah. Like, a lot of people talk about it, but they don't.
I go to the doctor. The doctor says you need to lower your cholesterol. You know, you need to eat better. And I say, yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then you go eat a cheeseburger right after the appointment. So anyway, the story was, I remember seeing him the first time I got him on Skype, and he's like, hey, first thing you need to know is, if I go to take a piss or anything like that, I'm not charging you for that time. Like, I keep very strict hour, whatever, because I'm charging you a lot of money. Like, he's not apologetic about anything. He's the most straight up guy you'll ever meet. And then he's like, hey, you don't mind if I just go decide to blow a bag of smoke, and you don't mind if I do that, and I won't charge you for that either. And then, so anyway, he said, do you mind if I do that? And I have this on my Skype recording, and a bag of smoke, what are you talking about? And then he goes, I'll be back in 5. He takes off, and he comes back with this huge bag. And he's like, and I'm just like, in my head, I'm so scared. I need help. My back's screwed. I'm like hanging on to every word this guy's got. And all of a sudden he comes back with this bag, which actually just shows you how tight I got. Because at that point, think about it. The whiskey guy 5 years ago would be like, sweet, we're going to smoke. Sure. But instead he's like, pulls his bag, and he's like, hey, yeah, I just like to put together a little smoke. I learned a long time ago, if you're not having a good time doing what you're doing the wrong thing. And he's like, yeah, I got a little bit of whatever Zimba weed and stuff, and I got a little bit of northern shag, if you know what I'm saying. And then he's like, he takes a huge hit off this bag, dude, and then and he's all, whoa! And I'm just sitting there going, that's awesome, my God. And like, brilliant, because loosen up, man. Like, loosen up. And if this is funny, and then yeah, he went into like, he looked at my whole scene, and he was like, yeah, the reason your back is messed up and the reason you're so messed up is because you sold out. You've been someone your whole life who didn't sell out, and then now you're in this legal battle, and it's for money. So you're making money more important than your soul for the first time in your life. And you're capable of doing all these other things, but you're concentrating on this. So every time you try to take a step forward, you're getting pulled back to 2007, this accident, and that's why your back's toast. Mm-hmm. And your back's actually screaming at you, trying to say, hey, give me a break, man. Like, and that was when everything shifted, when I used to say, bad back, bad back. I have years of telling people bad back. And then one day I like turned around on my back and went, oh God, you've been trying to save me. You've been trying to wake me up to this way I've been thinking, which is totally messed up. So if I'm thinking I'm a piece of shit, which used to run in my head a lot, useless piece of shit, loser, no doubt. No, that was actually fact. That wasn't swearing. Got it. That was a stat. Got it. That was a fact. How's that? Yeah. See, I'm on it. You're on it. And I don't mind throwing money in there. I just want to be straight. Yes. But it was like that piece of shit used to be that was constantly. And self-identity. So Paul's like, which I picked up from a very long time ago, which is like, if I tell myself I'm bad. Yes. First, no one can have that. I already know I'm bad. So I have control. Got it. Unfortunately, you could imagine that makes your back a little sore after a while. So the way I think about myself had to change. It wasn't like he didn't tell me what to think. He taught me how to think. So he had to become conscious of these thoughts and then change them because they didn't work anymore. Like it stopped working. I mean, that's pretty harsh. Like I used to finish a movie that would blow up and do really well. And within 24 hours of that movie being made and after a premiere and everybody accepting it, I'd be back to piece of shit.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, once again, in our culture, right? Like,
let's pivot there because there's a question here that goes with that.
So yes, Paul Check, like, and something I would say about though, there's something that Paul Check that I didn't relate to Paul Check around was I would never want to see Paul Check snowboard or skateboard.
Huh.
And there's a part that he will never get.
Right.
About that. He creates joy in his body in a different way.
Sure.
And this is not a slag on
Not
Paul.
at all. No.
But he's also never skateboarded. He's also never dropped in on vert. He's also never done a backside air. Dude, we are blessed.
So lucky.
So lucky to have done these things. And but also at the same time, I'm fucked for life because I know what joy can feel like. So my curse is to get back to that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I can get
absolutely.
that as I get older. I can get that with less physical things.
Totally.
Like yeah, it doesn't need to be this high octane whatever, but I don't need to see Paul Check doing a backside air. So
Chris Ludwig, do you happen to remember where you woke up in the morning after the premiere of Whiskey 2 in Calgary?
No.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but that's and that speaks volumes, right? Like that's what the question is about. He obviously does. Maybe I'll put you in touch with him.
Yeah,
and
I would love to know.
He'll fill in the brownout for you.
How's that for just a no?
So
like
yeah.
I no.
Right.
And I don't mean to be trite, whatever.
No.
Just like no.
I think that answers the question dead on. And sorry to kind of derail the Paul Check talk because it's fascinating. It's amazing. And you actually reminded me that one of these coincidences, that's what's going on in my life. So it feels like you're saying your stuff. Mine has nothing to do with you, but it's relevant. So I'm going to say it. I was at Cypress and I saw what I thought was Mike Olson's board.
Yeah.
It was Dr. I don't know his first name, Olson, Stephen Olson or something. And so I saw the board because Mike Olson the week before had talked about it. It was a certain LibTech board that he rides, and he had the step-on bindings.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. That might be Mike Olson at Cypress. What a weird thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Next day I'm at Grouse, same board, leaning up. It says Olson on it. It's written in marker, which is kind of a Mike Olson thing to do. And it's leaning up against the car beside me. I go, that's so weird. I'm seeing this guy's board a second day. And I say to him, you're Olson? He goes, yeah. How'd you know? I'm like, oh, you wrote it on your board there. And I tell him, you have the same board as Mike Olson, the guy who owns the company that makes that board. And he says, that doesn't mean anything to me, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
I don't remember. That wasn't important. I said, what do you do eventually? And he says, I'm an internist. I'm a doctor that deals with your internal organs. I said, I am 2 weeks into my fucking blank, my blood pressure medication.
Uh-huh.
And I've got a tickle in my throat that I just found out from my friend his dad had from the same medication. And so now I'm going to be going for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor goes, why you got high blood pressure? I said, because I eat too much salt and lots of sugar. He goes, so what do you think the blood pressure medicine's doing? And I go, well, it's lowering my blood pressure to keep me alive. He goes, no. Your organs are raising your blood pressure because you eat all that shit. So now you're going to lower it with medicine, and your organs are going to take, they're now not going to function like they're trying to save you, dude. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing is saying, oh, sorry, guys, I still want to eat all this junk and just take a pill and have low blood pressure because my doctor says blood pressure being high is a bad thing. Yeah. It's not a bad thing if you're eating tons of crap. Mm-hmm. It's actually a good thing. Your body's trying to help you out.
Well, do you want to go at I'll go at a Kearns level on this one if you want.
Please.
So my guess is you leave you're a pretty smart guy. You've made stuff happen. You have kids. Like, you're smart and you've made things happen. You built business, whatever. And but then you go to a doctor and he says, don't eat this stuff, but then you go chow down.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is, because I very much know that pattern in myself, and it's like, well, why would I do this? And it all leads to one thing, and I think this is predominant in our culture and with men, a lot of men, is somewhere along the line I learned that I'm bad, that I tell myself that I'm bad.
Yes.
And that keeps me safe, because if I tell myself I'm bad before anybody else does, I at least have control of that. So if I leave the doctor and I go and eat a bunch of crappy food, I know it's still enforcing the story that I'm bad. And this is what Paul worked with me on. It's like, you've got this inner dialogue going, and I learned this from other places, and it's like, and ultimately it's really scary to let go of that story, because that saved my life. Like if I make myself bad, I make myself harsher than you.
Yes.
I told you earlier today, you don't want to back me into a corner. Well, that's because I can be badder than you.
Oof.
And I don't necessarily like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it saved my life. Like, I'm willing to go to places a lot of people aren't. If it historically, if you're going to come up, we're going to whatever, I'm going to do something that you're not even going to think is possible, and you're going to be more scared than I am, because it's going to save me.
Absolutely.
Quite often it would be very out of balance. Yeah. And people would be like, whoa. And I'd be so left of center because I just thought I was someone, so
here's the third or fourth book drop. No More Mr. Nice Guy. Who's the author?
Oh, damn it.
Should I look it up so that?
Yeah. No More Mr. Nice Guy is actually really good book for, I think, men and women, for anybody who's just really nice to everybody. Usually nice people are anything but nice.
Like Dr. Michael Parrish, or no, Dr. Robert Glover.
Glover, yeah.
So you sent me the link to it. I started to listen to it, and the part that I resonated with, and where I stopped listening, was he said there's, not quite, I listened to a bit more, but anyways, he says there's two types of nice guys. The guys that deem themselves bad, like you just described, I'm that. And the guys who think if they just are perfect, if they could just be good all the time, then they'll get what they need.
Yep. Yeah.
And so both guys are frustrated.
Both are telling themselves they're bad.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's a really, he breaks down the whole dynamic from a psychological aspect of the what he says in there is basically, and I'm really interested in this too. I'm really interested in the timing of this is going to sound weird, but back in, as humans, I don't think men were supposed to take off and go to work all day long while the boys were raised by the mother at home.
Sure.
Like, if I was raised by a father, a man, back in the day, I would have been taught how to hunt and fish and all these things, and I'd be in connection with the dude.
Can I tell you right here, this is where I got the download from the great universal consciousness of what book I'm writing. And this is it. Because what you just said, when you talk about what Dr. Glover's philosophy is on there, I just had a body felt sensation that, look, if you've got one dad and he's telling you his philosophy, you got one dad, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got a 1 or a 0. Hate yourself because everything he says is you're wrong.
Yep.
And I want to be like my dad, but I can't, so I hate myself. Mm-hmm. Or everything he says is right, so I hate myself because I can't do what he says and he doesn't like me. The problem isn't your dad or the absence of. The problem is the absence of the village. Because when you're a kid in a village that's taking care of you, then you spend some time with a fisherman. You spend some time with a skateboarder.
Lots of dads.
You spend some time with the carpenter. And they argue amongst themselves. They say, Sean's going to be an amazing carpenter. If he comes with me and I teach him he's going to be an amazing carpenter. And the other guy goes, you know what? He's not that good at fishing. And the other guy goes, he'll be the best skateboarder this village has ever seen if we do the skateboarding thing. And the village makes a decision.
Big time.
And it's not just the men, it's the women and the men. Oh, he'd be the greatest chef or cook or whatever. And I don't want to put that on women. I'm saying maybe the woman's the best fisherman at the time in the village. So I didn't agree with like, oh, we've all been raised by our moms and now we're soft. I agree that we've all been raised by single people that gives us a mechanism of hating ourselves almost to a person. That's why I was like, Mr. Nice Guy, this is the whole world.
Yeah.
Find me someone who's well-adjusted that doesn't hate themselves, and that the mechanism wasn't that they were trying their best to impress their small group of parents, whether it was one parent, two parents, or a 15th of a parent.
We're not meant to be separate.
No, we're not meant to be separate.
And I don't want to generalize. Some people aren't, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, I think that the whole Industrial Revolution, the timing was like, kept us separate, kept us ashamed. And then for what he says in that book that's really good is what we learn that it's about abandonment. Like if my dad's not here, he left. Well,
yes,
my dad isn't here because I must have done something bad.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing we can make. So then it's like, well, I just stay bad.
Right.
Now, luckily for me, I found skateboarding.
Yep.
I found snowboarding where it broke that whole thing apart. And that's why you got to be so grateful.
There you are.
That I found something that broke the whole pattern, like society and everything.
Yeah.
Finding punk rock music and everything. That is the thing that saved my life. It's like, wow, there's this whole other thing of like, no, this isn't working. Like, and when I won my first skateboard contest, I was like, oh, this is kind of messed up because there's a bunch of people saying I'm not bad all of a sudden. This is weird.
Yeah.
And so then the question
big
is,
rewards. Here's a sponsorship from Quicksilver.
Do you have the courage to, and this stuff about trauma and the past, all of that stuff for me, all those words are like, any of that without action is a waste of time. So it's like, okay, have these awarenesses of where you might got to this place of where you're telling yourself you're bad or whatever.
Yep.
And then do something about it.
Do it.
And whatever that means, like brushing your teeth in the morning with the wrong hand and staring yourself in the mirror and saying, you're not bad. You're not all bad.
Right.
Or you can do bad things. Yeah. And you're not all bad.
Yes.
Like, that kind of stuff, like, or finding other people around you. Like one of the best things, like my business partner, like I run these men's groups.
Yep.
And it's like, he said, I hope that one of the most powerful things I've ever heard was, I hope you can surround yourself with a group of good men that will not allow you to talk to yourself like that. Because the way you talk to yourself, if you talk to me the way you talk to yourself, I wouldn't be your friend. So you need other people to come along and they go, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. They're like, hey, dude, if you're my friend, you don't get to say that.
Right. You've been doing that for me lately.
Dude,
when I'm saying this is silly,
like you just look how quickly you make it dumb. Look how quickly you make it. And it's like, you need people around to go, hey, dude, guess what? Like, don't get me wrong. Like you can do some greasy shit. So can I.
Yeah.
And I can do some bad stuff. I can lie. I got taught to lie. I got taught to be nice. I got taught like all that crap. And the gig's up because I'm like, actually, I'm doing things differently now, except I need other people around me, not the internet like stuff. I want a crew around me that's going, hey, dude, I don't want to hear you talk to yourself like that anymore. And I believe, as men, I've noticed a big difference in men and women, I think, and I'll take crap for that probably.
That's fine. There's differences.
But men, we can bullshit ourselves. So I can outsmart myself into thinking I'm bad when I'm not.
Sure.
I can outsmart myself into doing something really dumb when it's not going to be the best thing for me. Like, so I need a crew around me to go, hey, dude, like this isn't where you want to be going. And this is what we're doing. And I've done that. I have a crew of, like Owen, my partner he says, every man needs five good men around him. And one of them needs to be him. And that one needs to call the other four.
Yeah.
And dude, just to have counsel, like that's what we used to do. Like even if, let's say you're going to go marry someone.
Sure.
And you have a group of good people around you.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey man, I'm thinking of marrying Wanda, the Mexican hooker. And they're like, and your boys would be like, well, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Sure.
But if you don't have that,
Yeah.
Wanda the Mexican hooker seems like a good idea maybe to some people. And they're like, but they're in love, man.
Right.
And you know, your crew around you will go, hey, dude, do you know that you've done coke for the last month and you've been on a binge, and so it might not be a good idea. And then you go, oh, okay. And you
Could
trust
there
these.
be another reason that you're getting married right now?
You trust your crew and they get your back. And, you know, that's, of course, like a way out there situation or example.
I want to be the kind of person that can say to Sean Kearns, dude, when you do something lame, I'm just going to tell you. And until that, if you're telling me something's lame that's not lame, I'm also going to tell you that. Can we agree to that?
Totally.
I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That, to me, feels powerful. That feels like fucking Sean Kearns is going to listen to me. Because when he does some lame shit and he's doing an invert on a one wheel or calling me lame for being on a one wheel, I could say, you know what? You don't have to fucking shit on me.
Yeah.
That sounds lame when you're shitting on one wheel guys, which doesn't, by the way. Not a big fan of one wheel. You're not moving.
That's the difference between.
And there's a bunch of you need to.
No. I didn't. No. I don't even know if you swore in there, but what I wanted to say is that's the difference between nice and kind. Like
yes,
nice is hey man, it's like I'm not ever gonna say something, and kind can be very much, hey dude, I don't like that you did that. That's kind.
Mm-hmm.
Kind is harsh sometimes. Like if a person comes to you and they're drinking all the time, they go, man, I just don't know what my problem is. Well, if you're nice, we go, oh, dude, take it easy on yourself, bro. And it's all good. Don't worry about it. That's nice.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit.
Right.
Whereas kind is like, listen and go, yeah, dude, you know what? You keep coming back to me and you're bitching and complaining and you drink a case a day. And I'm not going to stick around and watch that. And because that clearly is like you say that you're willing to change, but you're not willing to.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to know you on the other side of that case.
And I'll walk beside you, whatever. But what I'm not willing to do is enable this. And so I'm going to remove myself from your life until you get this part under control. Because otherwise, that's kind. But guess what? You're considered an asshole.
Well, you're giving me butterflies thinking about saying that to my best friend, right? Like I think about the times that I've told him, look, your drinking is something that you love. Not everybody loves to drink the way you do. You really drink a lot and you're not an angry person. It's not destroying your life. There's none of these things that your wife is telling you is happening because of the drinking. I'm on your side on this one. Don't fall for her rhetoric.
Yeah.
That if you just stop drinking, your life would be better. We both know that's not true. Both people have to change in this thing.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
but that's Mr. Nice Guy enabling everyone to do everything that they want. But maybe a little.
And I mean, the question, plain and
is
simply,
it kind?
If we do bullshit ourselves, which I think we do, if we do bullshit ourselves, can bullshit ourselves, that's when it's good to have a kind friend and go, look, we're having a conversation about you, and your life ain't going so well. Whether it's about your partner or whatever it is, but then you're telling me the drinking's okay. And then I'm even reinforcing it, going, nah, dude.
Yeah.
That's being nice versus like, well, let's investigate that.
Sure.
You know what? The other thing, too, is I think this might get me crap, too, but I think women are a lot more intelligent than men, actually. And I think they're much more in tune with a lot more than we could ever imagine in a million years.
Yeah. If
like they're playing 3D chess and we're gorillas with crayons, basically.
Sure.
And so when she's giving him hell about his drinking, she's actually being kind. Might be called nagging, might be called whatever, but she probably knows that it's probably knows down deep it ain't good for him.
Sure.
She's not doing it because she likes it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know these people.
Right. You don't know them. Right.
No, I don't know.
So because I know them so well, I'm realizing even in saying this, like part of me saying, look, dude, drink, fuck, give yourself the permission to just be who you are.
Yeah.
And if you can't solve it as who you are, doing whatever you want, maybe then it's time to think about the drinking.
And you know, the thing that I would say is, if you actually, this is another thing about Paul Chek that was awesome, is he doesn't get attached to things, and I've learned a lot about that. So if you actually just look at alcohol without all the marketing and branding and everything that's been going on, and you actually understand what it is, it's a solvent. Well, first and foremost, it's recognized as a solvent. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm not against alcohol or anything like that. It's a solvent. And that solvent poured into the human body is, now this, people get a little confused. It's a depressant. Now, it's not a depressant as in like it makes you depressed, which it does eventually. But a depressant is what it does is it calms your nervous system. That's what it does. And there's nothing better than, oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm hyped up. So
I've tried every drug, and I got to tell you, there's nothing as reliable as alcohol.
And the other thing it's reliable for is I've tried a lot of drugs and tried a lot of substances, and it's also reliable that alcohol makes me feel the worst. Eventually, I've never had any suffering, pain, heartbreak, anything in my life as bad as a hangover. An alcohol hangover.
Absolutely.
So
if you do hard drugs with no alcohol,
it's fine.
They're actually very easy on your body.
It's pretty funny. Absolutely.
It's
and you throw one beer into that, it drives your brain. Anyway, so the question is,
roasted.
Buddy's drinking, whatever anybody's drinking, that
Yeah.
if you educate yourself and it's like, okay, it's a depressant.
Yep.
So then the next question might be, why are you needing to depress?
Right,
Why are you needing to calm yourself down? And so then what I've learned is I'm let's just say you want to call it a type A or an outgoing person or an intense person or a type A, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is I've also learned about this circadian rhythm through Paul Chek, like get up in the morning, cold shower, get going for the day. In the evening, I can either go grab a case or I can go grab a sauna or I can hit like a hot yoga class,
a depressant.
Or I can, exactly, a healthy depressant. I can't tell you how many times the programming was, okay, man, I did a day of snowboard, now I need to. No, you're right. I mean, I've had a blast. Alcohol at some point saved my life because I was so twisted, and it just kind of, whatever, it worked.
Me too,
until
dude.
it didn't.
And guess what works really well with alcohol? You wake up with that terrible hangover, which goes away eventually if you do it every day. You feel terrible, but guess what? Then you have a coffee. Bang. You're there. Coffee gets you to where you need to be.
Yep.
And then I'm buzzing from a coffee myself.
Yeah.
And I need a couple of beers at night to just,
No, dude, and that's the thing is like, so could it just be that, like, that's why, like I said about Paul, or even the way I look at things is like, just look at it without any good, bad, right, wrong, and go, oh yeah, I'm jagged up on coffee and dehydrated all day. So my nervous system, this is what it all comes down to, is your nervous system's like, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, if I have a hot Epsom salt bath or whatever it is I got to do to bring my nervous system down, because actually what I want to do in the circadian rhythm is calm myself down.
Smoke a joint. That works
totally,
for
if
a
you
lot
want
of
to.
people.
And there's good versions and bad versions. And for me, a good version is heat. I love saunas.
Yeah.
Like I love just sweating out in a sauna or doing something that just winds me down, read a book, get off the crack and read a book before you go to bed.
Books really helps
me
to
down.
Fall asleep. Jeez.
And it's just basically educating yourself. I'm like, I don't really want to pour solvent into my soul. Like I've quit drinking completely. And I actually would be, it was like I removed it from my life. It was kind of like this moment where I'm just like, I just don't want to feel like this anymore. And there's relationships in my life that I know that are so important to me that if I drink, I know those relationships could be put at jeopardy. Because when I drink, historically, I turn into an Olympian, bad decision-making moron. So, and I have these other things I cherish, like skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, people. I'm getting older, my body, all that stuff. So I'm like, I just weigh it up and I go, no, I don't, no. And I no, I don't want to do it. And I'm not against it.
From the things that we've been talking about so far, for me, on enough alcohol, that nice guy just goes like, I'm exhausted. I am not a nice guy. I am going to melt down everything that I care about. My kids. I'll wind up in jail I got to be there for my kids in the morning. I'm in jail. Can't be there. That's the worst. That's the worst.
Yeah, don't do that.
And it allows me, alcohol allows me to get to that place reliably.
And my belief is, I believe that if I'm going to remove that depressant, I've got to fill it with something else. That's why a lot of people do really well when they get really healthy. They go, I'm not doing this anymore. They get up drinking, and they found other ways to get whatever it is. So So for
Calm
me,
at the end of the day.
Yeah,
fall asleep.
For me, it's like whatever it is. It's just I just have better versions. I just educated myself, and that, like Paul's saying when he's looking at me and he's going, that dumb thing over there. You might want to read the owner's manual. What he was saying is, pay attention. Like, just learn the most basic stuff, and like I have a checklist. The most basic stuff is hydration, rest, connection, like whatever it is, the movement.
Yeah.
Any of these things, if I didn't do them in a day and I'm feeling crappy, what have I been feeding my mind? If I feel crappy, I just go through that list and they're all right. They're always right there. If you do that basic list of what we need, which is like hydration, nutrition.
Can we fill these up with some more water?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I'll do it.
That right now.
I'll do it.
Michael Mace, is Boozy the Clown ever going to make a comeback?
No.
Shane McKinney, Invasion Snowboards. You remember that guy, North Van? Drove around in a Porsche, actually. He was the first guy I knew who owned a Porsche. I thought that was cool. He was like a pro rider kind of, too, for his own company. He's a good rider. Shane McKinney asks, what's next? Sean for Parliament. Sean for Parliament.
No. Well, I don't do politics. Like, it's a prostitution ring, if you at best. So no.
Excellent.
Unless, of course, I was going to run a prostitution ring, then yes.
John Berlin. I'm curious about the backstory of the Halapoff fight. I don't know how much of that you can share. I mean, I think there's no backstory to it. It's just the truth. Like, well, I guess the backstory is, there's bar fight or whatever, and Jimmy got fully kicked in the head from like somewhere that, like, but just the thing you don't do. Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, there was like, you're going to go give the guy the beating in the old school way. Like, if that happens to you, you got to let people know that can't happen. And then it just got put into like, my memory of it is just, we were just so desperate to create footage like that. Although the idea is good, it was actually pretty sad. Like that was so handled that way. And out of all the things, like, that's one thing I can barely watch, barely watch.
Same.
Like, it's it's painful for
Same.
me. And I think Jimmy too, and young and dumb and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not like no one makes mistakes. And
how about the behind the scenes thing? Did the fight happen and then the skit was of him training was before? Was after the fight had already happened, or was a skit of him training and then he just went straight from training to actually beat the crap out of the guy?
I don't know. I'm just going to say I don't know, because that could be premeditated then, couldn't it?
Right.
So I don't know.
Oh, I got you. Yep. Okay. Keating Smith asks, did you have a moment of clarity in your life that changed you into the person you are today? If so, can you describe that experience for us?
Funny, man. Yes. So, like basically the moment was like I was doing life a certain way, and then it stopped working. And then I went through a lot of years of doing it the same way. And then but the moment was, well, it's kind of a little bit of a story, but have I talked about heroin on the show before?
Never.
Okay, so I used to hang out with some pretty interesting people, and one time I was hanging out with this dude. He's like an enforcer for some gang and shit. And anyway, he ended up doing heroin, and he's like, hey, and like we were driving around Surrey in like a Trans Am, like an old fire chicken, except we were like launching the thing off of the train tracks, when the train tracks come up, we were launching it. We were high and wasted, and we didn't care. He's like, hey, I got to go and get some, I'm going to get a point. And I'm like, what's the point? Anyway, long story short is I did heroin with him. And I didn't shoot it, I smoked it. But when I smoked it, something happened, and it was very clear. I'll remember it the rest of my life. It was like, and now I'm not suggesting you go do heroin, but I'm like, I don't know where I've been. I don't know what I've been doing, but this is where I want to be. I feel okay right now. And it was just so clear. And then I remember puking a bunch, and then that whole thing around misery likes company. The guy showed up at my house a week later, like, hey, let's do it. Rah, rah, rah. So I did it again. Now, what's really interesting is both times, him and the other guy that was doing it with us too, everybody got really sick the next morning, like really sick. And I actually didn't get sick at all. I actually felt better. And we'd been doing tons of drugs and partying, so I should have been hungover anyway. And I remember being crystal clear, and I was like, whoa. And I'm like, that was so profound, because I knew how bad a shape I should have been in, but I was actually feeling good. I'm like, okay, there's something else is going on here. So you need to make sure you stop doing this drug like now, because it wasn't that making it shitty that drove me away from it. It was actually that I felt so good after. And I was like, oh, this is something's up. Anyway, the moment, back to the guy's question, was I did this course, and Linda Nichols was leading it. And it was a workshop inside a workshop. And it was a month-long course. And it was when I just basically given up doing it the way I was doing it. I'm like, I have to change. I have to learn, because I'm a mess. Like, when I decided not to kill myself, I decided you got to go after life like you went after skateboarding, because you know how to go after something. Go after life, which means drop everything else and go. And it's not about money. It's not about anything. It's about your life. Make your life the most important. And so I did that course. And it was this workshop called Shadow, and it was basically to pull out the parts of yourself that you aren't aware of, or that you don't even know are there. It's shadow work. It's Carl Jung stuff. It's like to accept yourself, to be the full human being, stuff you might be ashamed of, whatever. Anyway, so in the course, they basically start off the process. It's funny because I've ended up leading that course now, but they start off the process by doing this ceremonial thing where they offer to say into this room something you've never told anybody, or something you're ashamed of, or something that you just, whatever. And then basically you act that out for the next 4 days.
Wow.
So your deepest, darkest secret that nobody knows. And then, at the end of the program, like, you fully have integrated this thing into your life. You're looking at it differently. Other people know. So you're seeing in their eyes this thing. And I remember laying there, like, they did this thing in there. And at the end of the program, she did this guided meditation. We're all laying throughout this big room, just with our heads on pillows. And then she did this guided meditation. It's almost like a rebirth, because you've accepted this part of yourself. And I remember laying there, and then she played Amazing Grace, and I was weeping. I was just like bawling, and I just had this feeling, and I was like, oh, I know this feeling, heroin. And I was like, you can get this without the drugs. I actually can be me, all of me on this planet. I can be this person that ultimately, I'll tell you right now, my thing was that I'd never told anybody, is that I was a liar. I was taught to lie from super young. So my whole life I'd lived with this shame that I would just say whatever I needed to say to get people to like me, manipulate every conversation I possibly could. And I was like, okay, this is, and so now my story of myself is, I can lie. And right now I'm not lying, so I'm not a liar, but I can accept that I've done that in the past. And it was just, that was the story, but it was also then to be able to act it out with these people, and to actually, this is why we need each other, to see that I'm not bad, to see that people could still be in relationship with me after I told them this horrible thing that apparently I was going to hell for, according to the church. So it was this moment I was laying there, and I was like, I know this feeling. I want this feeling. I'm not high on anything, and I can get this feeling that I had on heroin. Well, what it was the world I was living in before was not authentic because I was still hiding and lying and trying to control everything. And finally I went, you mean I can actually be me? Like actually be me? And there's certain people that will want to hang out with me? Because I thought if anybody actually saw who I was, they would leave, of who I really was. So I was always putting on the show, you know? So that was the moment. And it was January 15th, 2012.
Congrats.
That was the day. I remember, and it was like, oh, whatever this is, I'm committed. I'm in. This is, I just found Sealin again.
Yeah.
This is the bowl. And what it was finding a place where people would sit in circle, and then I just started telling the truth into circles constantly. Everything, all the stuff you're not supposed to say, all the stuff I'm not supposed to say, all the stuff that, like, one day I'd be like, I love everybody in this room. The next day I'd be like, I hate everybody in this room. And they're like, thanks for telling us. And I'm like, what?
Right.
Like, we're not bad for these things. We're not bad for these thoughts. A lot of this stuff's natural. We just have them, you know?
You shared that with me. That was my experience. I'd been in a circle not that long before I was in the circle that you helped facilitate. And I don't think I've talked about it on the show, what happened at that circle with you. But I'll tell you, because I texted you the other day about this, because it was quite profound for me, was that I was in a hurting place for me. And the hurt was coming from the idea that the way I am, nobody's going to love me. And it was, I'm going to be honest, even though I'm just going to risk everything here. I might lose the people.
You sure did.
Yeah.
And you went for it.
And I did that at that circle. I did that the other day. Now, one of the most powerful things, again, to do with a song. So you gave me, I don't know who chose the song. I tell myself it's you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It was Linda.
Okay. Well, whoever picked the song's a genius. So it doesn't matter that it's Linda. It wouldn't even matter if it was one of the facilitators that I didn't connect with and that I said I hated them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But in this moment when I was being vulnerable and honest, that song was in my head. And there's often music playing in my head that doesn't have anything to do with the moment. But that particular one, I mean, I could cry right now thinking about it, but it was just because it was such an attachment to a moment where I was like, wait, no, in that circle, when I thought nobody was there, I thought at best polite 4 or 5 out of 30 people would be there. And I felt 30 hands on me. I broke.
Yeah, dude.
Something in me changed at that moment.
For sure.
Forever.
It's
forever.
That's called I don't want to get all clinical, but that's what they refer to as a disconfirming experience that if I actually showed everybody this part of me that they would leave. And I guarantee every single person, if we're honest, my belief is every person has these thoughts going on in their head that would make them a bad person, or, you know, we all just, it's really normal. I mean, there's 60,000 thoughts a day. You're going to tell me all of them are positive and light and bubbly? No.
Right.
And so I think it's conducive to a healthy human to be able to find other people around that go, hey, these are some of the thoughts I have. And then people go, thanks for telling me. And that's how you figure out you're not your thoughts.
Right. Right. The power, the deepest power of it for me was that still now, that critical voice that was in me was actually, that was self-critical, was actually keeping me from harming people around me by telling them what I thought of them. Yeah. I was a nice guy, and I wasn't ready to call out every one-wheeler just because it's lame, because you're not moving your body, right? Like, you think you're doing a thing, but you're not moving your body. The one-wheel guy.
Oh, yeah.
So which could be me, right?
I don't even know what a one-wheel is.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, good.
Yeah, don't even.
Okay.
The fact that I even.
Okay. Yeah, silly. Anyway.
But so that voice has gone outside again, and sometimes I'll be walking down the street and I'll be like, that's a blue meanie from Yellow Submarine. I'm like just funny with myself. I'm like, look at all these blue meanies. Yeah. Like everybody's turning into this weird shape, fat thing that's walking around with its phone thing. Like we're all from Wall-E going, like if we had chairs that would just move us around, that floated around, and we could have the big gulps, We would all do it.
You lost me there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sorry. Cutting all
No,
this out.
I'm serious though.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
When you're walking around,
I don't like people. I don't like people is the bottom line.
But-
I don't like this thing that we've built together. I don't like the roads that are smooth that take me from here to anywhere I want to go on gas that's burning the fucking atmosphere and no consequence to me personally. All I need to do is steal a few bucks from these people who I don't like and I can go anywhere I want.
So what you're talking about, I think, is that you can be a cynical person.
I can cynic like the best cynics out there.
But then what I think you discovered is that if you can be cynical to others like that, and I think that part of you probably saved your life, but then you're like, that ultimately it keeps you safe, keeps you bad, keeps you from connecting to other people.
Correct. Right.
So cynic away, young Jedi, but then actually every ounce of your actions are different. You actually want connection. You want to meet people. You actually breaking news, dude. You have a show that goes and talks to other people because you're interested in what.
I love it. I love doing it. It's the thing that I crave.
The whole thing about the cynic is, the cynic's not bad. The cynic saved you.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, my guess is when anything gets close to your heart, the cynic comes up to protect your heart.
Absolutely.
Except as you get older and you want to have more connection, you want your wife to be able to love you. You want to be able to accept the love of your children, all that kind of stuff. You want this different life, which then it's like, you gotta, now this is the thing, like you had that disconfirming experience. Now this is what no one really talks about. It's like you have this kind of like window into your soul and go, holy crap, this is how I built the cynic. This is why I did it. This is why I don't trust love. This is why now what the thing I think is very, it's like, okay, so there's the realization. That's all in the head, whatever. And actually in the body too, because you have the songing, but then you got to go out and make a choice on a daily basis to do it, which is like, okay, you're going to slip, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall. But if I'm all sitting there on my back, bawling my face off, and I want this, well, what this is, I had to start undoing 45 years of doing it the other way.
Yep.
Which is, actually, I wanted to talk about this quote. So this is, from everything I can tell, this is what has happened to me. Okay. So this quote, I wouldn't read to anybody under 40 because I think it's a natural human condition. This is what I've been able to guess so far, to build your ego. And then you get to a certain age, and if you're lucky, you have a window into your soul and go, do I still want to keep doing this like this? So my ego, harsh motherfucker, that you don't get to fuck with, and I will put you in the ground if you try to mess with me, and I'm this hardcore dude, and I'll say whatever I want, and all this whatever, right? Funny as fuck, but anyway, so, and this is it, dude. It's like, this is the quote: thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. So for me, it was 40. So thoroughly unprepared. Okay. Worse still, we take this step with the false presupposition that our truths and our ideals will serve us moving forward. But we cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. For what was great in the morning will be little at evening, and what in the morning was true at evening will have become a lie.
Beautiful.
Dude, it's Carl Jung, and basically it's like this, like I can tell you, like, it's, for me it was total opposite. I grew up in school very sensitive. I don't mean sensitive like but sensitive like I can feel stuff, I can see stuff. So when I'm sitting there getting shamed and whatever else and made fun of because I'm wearing a costume that doesn't look like what it's supposed to, or I'm not so good in school, I'm getting shamed. I learned, I don't know what happened, but when you fight other people and you swear a lot when I fight and I swear and I tell people I deal drugs even when I don't, and I talk about drugs even when I don't do them, and I lie, and even in like my most successful years as a snowboard filmmaker, I would actually lie to people and tell them I'm smuggling weed across the border and stuff because I know that bad makes people like me. Except then this quote is like, well, except that's not me. That's not me. It's like, I mean, I like that I can do like harsh stuff. I like that I can push myself, and I've done some pretty crazy stuff. Like I've done a lot of different things. I've been a lot of different careers, a lot of different things. Like we pushed ourselves. And so that is part of me. It's just that what's the essence of it? And the essence of me historically has been, I'm bad. I'm a filthy, dirty little monster at the core. And I'm going to put this show on to never let you see that part of me, because that's ultimately what I think I am. And so then it's like I make myself bad. I want control. And then now it's like, do I have the courage to actually go, yeah, I'm not that dude. I don't want to be that dude. And just learn, like, I don't even like going out, dude. Like, I don't even like going out. If you ask me to a dinner party, 4 at most. Anything else is too much for me.
4 people.
Yeah.
I just talked with my wife about
so when
this.
when I was young,
incredible.
I would just get wasted. Like wasted. Why? To fit into the culture.
Totally.
I'm supposed to be Zimmer Zam.
Yeah.
And like you know, even Johnson and I, both sure. Johnson, like I worked with him a while ago. We're pretty, actually it's pretty funny, pretty calm, mellow dudes who like the simple things in life. And you wouldn't think that. And so a lot of that was just a reaction. And then one day, it's like, you know, Sean went the AA route and awesome. And I went this other route. And either way, it's both getting back to recovery is all about recovering your soul. So you get back to who you are instead of being this reactive whatever. And so that's the afternoon of life for me, is like, is it possible that I actually really enjoy really simple things? Yeah. Is it possible that I can skate till the day I die? Yeah, because I've learned how to enjoy cruising on my skateboard, and I don't need to tell this story that I need to be chucking 5s at 56 years old. I can actually just cruise on my skateboard. Sick. And before I needed people to watch, now I don't.
Right.
It's a totally different thing.
And if I would have gone snowboarding with you when you were at the peak of your snowboarding, now I'm going to blow a bit of smoke here because I went and saw, I somehow got exposed to a Kenak exit or something. I don't know what it was, but it's you snowboarding in a half pipe at Blackcomb, and Terrier's just coming up. He hasn't had the sword board yet. He's riding the Burton Air.
Yeah.
And if you watch that movie and you're like me, critical, I could be critical.
Yeah. And
I could be critical of skateboarding, snowboarding, style, whatever. You're riding at a Terrier level at this particular time. Now, had I rode with you at that time, do you think that I would have had a better time than when we went in that little zone at Grouse this year for 2 runs in powder while everyone else rode hardpack? Do you think I would have been able to have as good a time as we had? When I think of my memory of riding with you at Grouse, I'm proud of myself that I knew where there was some stuff to bring you guys to.
Yeah, dude.
And the smile that was on your face when you were hitting that, I was like, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no part of me that was being like, I wonder if he's, is that a double poke, or is that, like there's part of it.
Yeah.
It was just like, fucking Kearns is having fun snowboarding with me. This is the best day of my life.
Yeah, it was fun. And then
incredible.
Also I was with the younger dude who was like, it was good for him to actually be reminded how important it is for him to be outdoors. And then you showed him some sick stuff. And actually he told me since then that he's been like more active and stuff, and it totally inspired him. So
epic.
Yeah. And actually funny that footage from that movie, that was a summer at Blackcomb when, like I spent a lot of time up at those camps and everything, but that was a summer when actually I was actually, I would say, a good snowboarder. Like it was like all the stuff, like I was doing frontside tail grab 5s and
that's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
Like,
and that
you
stuff.
Stood out.
Yeah, it was good. And then it was funny because it was Terrier. He's like, I was going up with him and he's like, you guys are really good. You just do too many drugs. Because also at the same time I was like, but that was the thing, is like this is something I find really interesting, and I wouldn't have listened in a million years, but how interesting is it that I've got this thing going up to the mountain, having the best time. Like I'm in, like, dude, on Santa Cruz, like cutting the tips off my board to have a little mini Santa Cruz, and Noah and Palmer and all them are up there, and I'm snowboarding at their level, if not doing some stuff they weren't even doing
Exactly.
yet. And because and I was like, this is it. And I was, Santa Cruz shirt and like Santa Cruz board. And I'm like, dude, I'm a skateboarder wearing jeans on the glacier. Like, it was just like, whatever. And then it was just such a wicked time. But then it was like Binderhoff, Mohana douche at the bar. And those guys would go to bed. Like they would never rock like we did. Right. Like,
right.
And they would. And so another thing about curiosity I find is, I think I've seen some interviews, and I guess I get a little bit pissed off because I see some interviews of people who are like, yeah, man, like, I think it was like, I didn't want to say who it was, but it was like a couple like surfer dudes who were talking about, it's like, yeah, man, just like stay away from booze and drugs. I've never done anything good for anybody. And it's like, just stay away from that. Like Kelly Slater was one of them. And then Rob Machado was like, just stay away from the bar, man. I don't know why you'd have to go to pipe and then surf pipe and then go and get wasted. I don't know why. Well, how about throwing a little bit of curiosity in there and being like, well, actually, why? And I'll tell you what it was for me is feeling good, feeling healthy and good has never felt safe for me. You're not safe if you feel good because the hammer's about to drop.
Yeah,
so I
dude.
dropped the hammer first.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I subconsciously, I'd go and get like the worst hangover ever. I'd have this huge high of riding on the glacier, and then it would be like this almost like anxiety coming down going, I can't be good because I'm supposed to be bad.
Right. Right.
And if I'm good, if I have this story of good, then I'm actually vulnerable out here. So I need to make myself bad again.
Yep.
So any pro skateboarder, snowboarder, surfer who end up had to go get wasted after doing all that, knowing full well that it's not going to work out for them probably in the long run.
Right.
There's there'd be a really good curiosity to be like, so you do all this stuff, but why do you need to do this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is going to put all of this at jeopardy. But to say to that person, don't be the bad guy. You're taking away their number one survival tool. But if you're curious about it and go, hey, why do you do this? You got this career ahead if you want it. Why do you do it? And if you're actually genuinely curious, you might get somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I would have told you to suck rocks.
It was pretty deep. Yeah, it was pretty deep.
And not to mention, I had like, I remember that summer, and dude, there's this chick was like, came out and she was just like all into me. So it was total rock star, and she was like this blonde, it's just like rock star stuff. It was super fun. She's like, came from, back east, and then we bumped into each other. And next thing you know, she's coming up the glacier. So I got my arm around her, and Damien's got Brandy next to him, and we're like, oh yeah, bud, gonna go check a couple fives. And then and smoke a joint on the way down, and then hit the bar, dude.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't think it's too much regret.
One of the things that put out there, just to me personally, he was like, what's with all these people like saying, oh great, I don't drink anymore? Like, what is that trend? Why is that trendy? Oh, you didn't have fun when you were doing it? It's the most fun years of our lives. When I get together with a group of people and people have a couple of beers, 9 times out of 10, the stories they start telling is like, when I was young and I got this wasted and I lost my shoe at this party and I went to this concert and I got this wasted and I did this thing. Like, hey, are we going to just pretend like it wasn't fun? Like, sure, it was a bit miserable for sure, but there's almost no better feeling than being up on a roof, just about to fall on that fence, drunk as hell, that's going to like break a rib, and people are screaming, girls are going, don't do it.
Is that what?
I loved it. I had a great time doing that stuff.
Dude, so did I.
It was incredible.
So did I. I mean, dude, I've created more, I would say I've probably created more of those peak experiences than anybody I know of. For sure. Like from the surfing community to the snowboarding to the skating, dude, like it was hectic and
you were leading the way for guys like me. I thought I knew something about you that you were doing.
It was like I became really good at creating these peak experiences, and then I think where I've gotten to now is like that guy asking about like the joy and everything is like, dude, presence is the key. If you can be present to the actual moment, because really, ultimately, the only thing we have is time. Time's the most valuable thing we have is time. And if you can bring yourself present to time, depression, anxiety, none of that shit exists if you're actually present to what's actually happening in the moment. So I've learned that through breath and other things, I can bring myself present pretty much. I also call it growing myself up. Like, I know when I'm like losing myself, and I can just bring myself right back. Some breathing. This is Paul Chek stuff, feet on the ground. Like I did a lot of stuff to break the old patterns and breath, like learning how to breathe properly. And I can bring myself, and then all of a sudden, I don't need to, I'm not worried. I'm okay with feeling good now. I don't need to go mess it up. Drinking at the end of the day, drinking for me, and it's different for other people. I get so hungover, and it's mental, and it's painful, and it's just, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. And then I got to the point where I could do all the personal growthy stuff and be like oh, you just had a few drinks last night. Okay, we'll just accept it and da-da-da-da-da. Except my body was like, no, dude, like this hurts.
Can't treat us this way.
You can't do it. And then also like the cost of what comes out of my mouth and what I do, it's too risky. Too risky, like to the people around me that I care about and stuff. And I'm not against alcohol, dude. People drink around me. I don't care. 100%. I don't have one judgment one way or another. And I'm not going to sit there and say that you get hungover and I don't.
Right.
I just one day it was like, this is done. I'm done. And will I drink again? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I still drink, but I don't drink regularly.
It's just whatever anybody drinking. Does is just, are you willing to get, if just my body also knows, like, what was happening for me too is the joy of it was gone, because they talk about this in AA or whatever, is play that record till the end. Well, when I'm drinking, I know that there's this body felt sensation that this hangover is going to hurt. This is fake. When I'm in it, this is fake. It's fake.
So
it's fake.
Yeah. So
it's
said
not real.
The most important thing is time. And the whole time I'm like, but attention, right? Because time, when you're blacked out, you could go a year just blacked out the whole time.
Done it.
That's not time.
Yeah.
Attention is
presence.
That's what
presence.
Came to. Presence is like the only thing that there is. So that, like, hooking your attention over here, bringing it over to McDonald's over here, these things are valuable to those guys because they're taking your presence, your most important thing, not your money. Your money's nothing. There's no value in money.
No,
It's your presence. It's where you are. It's
presence.
where you've gone.
Totally.
Right?
Just be present, and then if you're lucky, you get to actually be curious about other human beings and find out what's going on for them.
Right. And so if you're even luckier, for me, if I'm even luckier, I go past all the bullshit and I realize I'm curious about me.
Yeah.
I've never been curious about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment when I opened my eyes and 30 people had their hands on me voluntarily after I called them hideous shit to their faces with conviction. Like, I meant the things I was saying. Like, that's what I think of you. This is what I think of you. You're a piece of shit. I fucking hate you. You're short. Whatever. I'm saying things that are hurting people's feelings. And I know I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm bad. Fuck all you. I'm all by myself here. And you guys say you're in a circle with me. But now that you know who I am, go fucking cry out there, because I don't give a shit. I'm here by myself. And I fucking, bam, I'm dead to the world. I'm lying down. Okay, I've exposed myself. Dead. No one's here. I open my eyes. They're all there. I'm like, wait a second. Hold on a second. Now I'm curious. What? There are people out there that see me at my worst.
Exactly the same as what happened to me. Exactly the same thing. They saw you at your worst.
You're here.
But then if you remember, you also exposed, or you also shared some stuff that was like very important for people to understand how you created that thing.
Right. So then I was curious about that.
That's right.
So that brings me to my mom, where I was curious about my mom. Mm-hmm. So instead of the story I was telling myself, oh, these people are going to fuck off, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm honest with my mom, I lose my mom. Mm-hmm. And at some deep level, I need my mom. Mm-hmm. So I went back to my mom and I asked her things I'd never asked her.
And how was that?
Dude, we go past that to where I feel good.
Yeah.
For the first time in my life without heroin, same deal. You know, I know this feeling. Content. Okay with me.
Yeah.
Okay with me and everything. And I've been talking to my mom, and she's been giving me she's so happy that because she's getting out of the hospital. She's been in a hospital for a year now. And every time I talk to her, she's like, it's great. I love it. I'm out of here next week. I'm out of here at the end of the month. They're doing a thing. They're going to take a test. And as soon as I can walk 30 steps, I'm out of here. It's no problem. I'm going to walk. Here comes my physiotherapist right now. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to do physio today. I'm on the phone with my son. I don't have time today, but I'll do it. Yeah. Come back tomorrow. Oh, no, you're not here. Okay. Next day. Well, I'll do it. And then in 30 days, they do the thing. They're like, you didn't walk and you're stuck in here.
Yeah.
And
but you have a different relationship with her now?
Oh, big time. So she's going through this, and I'm like, how do you feel about that? She's like, it's great because they're going to test again in 90 days. I'll be out of here, no problem. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm hearing this, and I'm going, zero judgment, Mom. This is where you are right now. That's cool.
Yeah, that's where she's at.
Good for you.
And
you're going to be out of here.
And can you accept her where she's
in 90 days. I love it. I'm your biggest fan. You know, next time that person comes, do the physio. You know, oh, you don't feel like it? That's great. Don't do the physio. I love you, Mom. You're doing great. You're in the hospital. You'll be home in no time.
I'm curious about you having that feeling and all of a sudden talking about your mom in the hospital. So what was the feeling about?
So check this out. So after all this, and I get to know my mom, and I get to ask her those questions, and I hear something different than I was expecting that's on the level of those people's hands on me.
Yeah.
Like, my mom loved me the whole time.
Yeah, and she did some stuff that maybe you didn't understand at the time, but your mom...
Well, I definitely thought it was because she hated me, because I was bad.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no. And I'm like, great. And so I feel good.
But you also went to her with a different curiosity.
Oh, yeah, way different curiosity. So here's the thing that I have to explain. She calls, and her voice is shaky. And it hasn't been shaky the whole time she's been in the hospital. I said, what's going on? She's like, I'm sad. And I was like, I'm glad you're sad. You've been in the hospital for a year.
Yeah.
I was wondering when you would be sad.
Yeah.
It's been weird, all this happiness in the hospital thing. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. I just don't understand it. You're in the worst place you've ever been your whole life. You've been free your whole life to do whatever the hell you want. Now you're stuck in this hospital. You can't go to bed at the right time, which is great for me because I fought with you for bedtime.
So she
laughed. She said, well, that makes me feel a lot better. And I said, you're not supposed to feel better right now, Mom. I'm overjoyed that you feel bad.
Yeah,
it's the time for you to feel bad.
But just her saying she's sad and you not wanting it to be different.
And then this is the moment. Then my mom said, you know, I'm really proud of you and the person you've become. Huh. And I said, this is you and the example you set for me when I was growing up, speaking back to yourself. This is the love you gave me. This is self-love right now, Mom. You loved yourself enough to love me in a way that stayed with me for 51 years.
Uh-huh.
And I'm here, and I love you no matter what you do and no matter where you are.
Which is very different than what you thought before.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
I would have punched her in the face.
Yeah, well, you had, and for a kid, you had reasons to, but now.
Sure.
Yeah, no, and your mom is like, so many people have these stories about their parents, but when you get curious about your parents, I guarantee you will find something that you don't know that they've been through. Yeah. And that, I think that... Dude,
what could be better than admiring your own parent from your heart, from the soul
like for
of your
real,
heart?
Seeing them.
Seeing them,
mm-hmm.
right. Mm-hmm. I hadn't seen her in 47 years until we did that thing and started everything. So I really owe you a debt of gratitude. Thank you very much for that. That's changed my life.
And yeah, thank you. And Linda too.
And Linda,
That was a mastery moment that no therapist that I know of, no psychiatrist, no doctor, anybody would have been able to pull off.
And everybody in that room, everybody in that room,
exactly.
Each and every single person in that room played a part in that thing that happened. The power of groups versus the power you have on your own, because every person, even if you don't like them, has something. Even if you don't like them, and you told me this, that's the person you need to go towards, not away from, because there's a reason you don't like them, and that's something you should probably work on.
Well, yeah,
it's not a big deal. It's a shortcut.
Well, that thing about that, like I learned that sitting in circles is when you're pointing at someone, there's 3 fingers pointing back.
Yeah,
and it's true. If in each side of every person there's a being that wants to connect. The outside is just a mirror back to me of something I don't like about myself or something I'm ashamed of or something. But inside the being, like, to me, Eric's not the cynical asshole. That's a part of Eric. But I always speak to Eric that's inside. And it's like, because I just don't ever get caught on what's the outside. And I don't like that the cynical Eric can take over the other Eric sometimes. But I also don't think that's Eric. I just think, and I'm actually sad because I know the cost. think I know the cost to you.
You've told me that a lot of times.
And for me too, when I become bad, like I hear it all day long, hanging out with you. I've wanted to say this, I've wanted to say that, and I just don't say it because I know the cost now. I know the cost of me reiterating that I'm bad, and I'm not all bad, and you're not all bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that thing of like, oh, I lost my thought.
Okay, more lighthearted over here.
Yeah.
So while I'm doing this work, I quit my job. This is the start of a stand-up bit that I did. It was about 15 minutes I did on stage, and I crushed. I'm proud of it. I've recorded it. I'll put it out one day for the Patreon guys. Join my Patreon. You can see the thing. Fuck's sakes. But this is how I started the set. And it has to do with the quote that you had. And it's probably the reason that I wrote it was that you told me that quote. And you also sent me something from The Wire or something where the guy's like, you think it's one way?
It's not. It's
not.
The other way.
So
yeah,
anyways,
that's your whole problem right there.
Yeah,
that's your whole. That's the thing where you get caught is when you want it to be different than it is. So your mom loved you, but she didn't love you the way you wanted to be loved. And so you can spend the rest of your life wanting her to love you the way you want, or you can grow yourself up and go, actually, one, she never got told how I wanted to be loved.
Totally.
And two, how, like, that's me. I wanted to be loved a certain way.
Yeah.
No one would know that. I never told them, okay, cool. But she loved me.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have great parents, both of them. Okay, so here's the bit. I quit my job this week and turned 50 and instantly felt very old because the hallmark of youth is knowing everything. And when I got a bit older, in my 20s and 30s, I started to think, well, maybe they still have things to learn. And then when I got into my 40s, I was like, holy shit, most of the things I know aren't right. And then when I turned 50, I realized there's a very good chance I don't know anything at all. Because I don't even know.
Truer words have never been spoken.
I don't even know.
I don't know is the only honest thing a human can say.
I don't even know the answers to my security password questions, and I made those up myself.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't even know anything. Yeah. How could I know anything if I don't know that? What's my favorite pet's name? The fuck you talking about? Whatever pet I had when I made that password.
Yeah.
Who has a favorite pet? You freaks. Anyways, yeah. So that's how I started. And it was based on that same idea. So the biggest thing for me after is that even though I had that great moment with my mom, my greatest joy is that I finally got to the point where I was curious about myself.
Yeah.
And that was a real far way to go, because when you're not curious about your parents, you've already decided I'm bad. That's what made my parents upset with me. I'm fucked. So I'm not even curious about the fucked up guy. Who would be curious about that guy? He's fucked for life. He's not even worth thinking.
Well, he's bad. And if
he's bad.
Right. Either bad or good, neither of those. See, thinking you're good's just as
it's just as bad.
There's a period at the end of it. Like there's a belief that I'm good. There's a belief that I'm bad. Any kind of a belief with a period at the end doesn't leave any room for movement.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no good or bad. It's like it's like that's so. Like, oh, there's so much room to move in there. And it's like, or there's not room to move in there. So it's like, how about this? You're human. And humans are messy.
Yeah.
Humans, And something you do that will be good for one person will be bad for another.
Totally.
So there's no way to get it right.
No.
There isn't. And ultimately that is like,
well, that circle thing, the next day I woke up in the morning, I didn't want to go to the last day because I was like so embarrassed. And I wrote that whole monologue thing and I didn't even want to fucking say it. After that circle, there was a lunch and I ran away.
Yeah.
I hitchhiked away and I was in the city and I was like, I'm just going, I'm leaving my shit. I don't even fucking care about my life. Those people saw me for real. And it doesn't matter that they put their hands on me. They're liars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was so scared.
Yeah, that's normal too. When you open, when a person opens, I know this. When I really open myself up, historically, I learned that if I'm going to be vulnerable, you're going to hurt me. I will get hurt. If I show you who I am, I'm going to get hurt.
Same.
So slowly breaking that. But what happens for me is I've been so lucky to, I'll give myself this. I took everything I had and I invested into those circles. And wherever I went, whatever I did, I just went in all in for years, 15 years. And basically fully committed everything I'd made to going, like selling houses, whatever. Also, ultimately for a long time to stay alive because I thought I was such a piece of shit and I was bad that I needed, what do you call it? I needed a circle to mirror back to me that I wasn't. Right. So I had the circle was almost like a surrogate. It was like, okay, I think I'm evil and bad inside, but these people are giving me something else. And as I exposed myself and told more and more of the truth, it was really to save my life, to be like, am I this or not? And it was like, I just don't, I work with people now and I seem to be doing really well working with people who are, I do really well with skateboarders, snowboarders, and surfers. So, there's always something missing when I work with civilians. So I have this different relationship with, and also I seem to tend to work really well with people who've had some sort of fame, who've been
sick,
famous athletes, actors, whatever, because that you get to a point where, or I got to a point when someone knows who you are, you start believing that. So there's no afternoon of life to switch to. Actually, I wanted to say this about every snowboarder, skateboarder, anybody who became pro. Like you take like a Devin, Duffy, a JP, Jeremy, any of these guys, Jamie Lynn actually is the one I think of the most, so they created this thing in their early part of their life, and different than an actor or different than some bullshit sport like basketball or something that can't be hard, where 7-foot dudes put a ball into a 10-foot tall rim. That can't be that hard. And I'm like, but then you like a Devin or a Lucas, dude, real deal. What could be worse than turning 45 years old and the world constantly reminding you of what you used to do, when you actually know that at that point you're a poser because you're not doing it anymore. So you either switch your identity or you live in hell the rest of your life with people going, dude, you're Terry Kidwell. You were sick. You're a legend. Well, really? I haven't snowboarded in 10 years and I'm not feeling too legendary right now. So you got to recreate. You got to rebrand. You know what I mean? Like you got to rebrand.
Damien did Club Rubber.
Exactly.
Right?
And then who else did that? You know who did that? That BMXer, Chris Muron?
Chris Muron, yeah.
He's a woodworker now. He builds wood furniture.
Oh, cool.
He builds wood furniture. He took money he made from the X Games and everything, and now he's like some hipster dude with glasses. He makes sick furniture.
Awesome.
And Chris Muron furniture.
That's amazing.
So he took everything he had.
Dave Mira and Chris Muron's our Canadian one.
No. Dave Mira's the dead one because he didn't build furniture. Chris Muron and not Chris. Dave Muron.
Dave Mira
and Chris Muron are the Canadians.
Yeah. Okay.
And Dave Mira was the guy who ended up dying. Yeah. And so this thing about what no one tells a snowboarder or a skateboarder or someone at the end of the day is that you kind of got to re-up your brand because you learned a ton in those days. You learned Like when someone says to me like Duffy or Devin or JP and those guys, I'm like, actually what those guys are guys who challenged conventional wisdom, followed their heart, and then no one worked harder than those dudes out in the backcountry. On top of working hard, then by the way, you're going to hit this 150-foot gap and there's no one around to help you if you break your leg or neck.
Yep.
Except Herndo and Dano. And that's the gnarliest shit, dude. The gnarliest shit ever. An avalanche and all that stuff.
Oh my God.
Dude, it's like all right there. And that's what these guys did. And then you take them back and you put them in side and go, you were so sick, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, thanks, man. I'm a legend. Well, that only lasts about a month before you start going, I'm not feeling too legendary right now. So what I'm trying to say is rebrand, do something else, step into it, a new identity. Like, you know what I mean? And that's
hopefully you make it past 40 and somehow you get exposed to this thing that you have been in for a long time of get curious about yourself.
Well,
because if you're not curious about yourself and you were that legend, you're telling yourself like, I am that legend. That is all that I am. And that's who I am. You're going to be missing.
Well, it gets old and old and old and you're worse.
Yeah,
and then actually here's the thing. Maybe, I know this is going to sound weird. Maybe I could stop being so fucking selfish and inward focused. And maybe I might be able to actually think about a 14-year-old Sean Kearns that might be able to use my fucking help. And maybe I could stretch myself to learn some techniques and get uncomfortable to pass on to someone that, so I could take the Chris Duffy, Devin, I could take my name and use it for something like that. And be like, yeah, these guys know who I am and I can show them how to do this. And I can show them things I learned. I could show them how to step into life and take a risk and not believe all the bullshit that keeps you stuck in a accounting job. Bullshit isn't a swear. 50. So anyway, it's like that like what saved my ass is actually learning how to not be so self-centered and be more, okay, what can I do? How can I help? How can I pass on the stuff that happened to me? Because I've had a pretty incredible life.
Yes.
And I can meet people in a way that other people can't. Some people. I can meet certain people who, if you start mentioning all this personal growth and trauma stuff to them, they will run the other way. Whereas I'll be sitting there, what do you think of this bullshit?
Right.
And they'll be like, this is bullshit. And I'll be like, I know. It's pretty weird around here, but check out this thing and check out that other thing. This is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You did it with me for sure.
Yeah. It's like,
you did it with me for sure. Like there's no way around it. The cool guy culture is a culture. You know what I mean? Like it's a community and it's very attractive. When you roll up to a skate park as a 7-year-old kid, and you see that hierarchy, man, that's like watching Apocalypse Now or whatever. All those guys with the guns and everything.
It's crazy.
Hierarchy
I'll remember it the rest of my life when I rolled up to a skateboard park and I saw it. I was like, holy, yeah.
And that's some powerful stuff. And I'll tell you, for me, never feeling like I fit into that, I think that was a benefit for me. Because when I started this show, I just started because I wanted to hear this show. I didn't know that I wanted to be a better person. I didn't know that I wanted to enjoy my life more. I had no idea. But I'll tell you connecting with each one of those pro snowboarders, industry legends, industry pioneers, and quirky fringe people that did some weird thing, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I loved it. Every single person had a story that was different from what I was telling myself.
And that is essential to learning that there's other people out there.
Oh,
it gives me a break from myself.
What a joy. Yeah.
There really is 7 billion different realities on this planet,
8
dude.
now.
Like
eight. It just passed
every single one's different. If you actually have curiosity, you can actually maybe get out of your head for a minute.
Sick. It's a great spot to be.
Is there any other questions?
Yep.
Let's add some variety. Let's get Danny's in there.
Here it is. It's the last question.
Oh, is it really?
And it's Danny. How do I say his last name?
Karayath.
Sean, what moments in time, whether it's daily or weekly, do you feel the best about yourself? Most productive, motivated, and inspired, all around happy? Conversely, what times do you feel inadequate, vulnerable, unproductive, and bummed out on yourself? And what in those times do you think relate to those feelings of yourself, good and bad? People around you, locations, weather, etc.
That's cuts right to it, huh? Damn. So read that again.
All right.
Because that guy's a smart person.
Thank you, Danny Karayath, for this question. Sean, what moments in time, whether it's daily or weekly, do you feel best about yourself, most productive, motivated, and inspired, and all around happy? Part 1. Conversely, what times do you feel inadequate, vulnerable, unproductive, and bummed on yourself? And what in those times do you think relates to those feelings of yourself, good and bad? People around you, locations, weather.
Cool. So the answer to the first part is like when I feel good, when I feel happy, it's just like I have a curse, and my curse is if I get up in the morning and I get moving and I have my morning planned out, no phone, get going, get walking. My 10 wins, as lame as that may sound, I brush my teeth, walk out the window, have a bit of a shower, cold shower, whatever it is, and I go work out, go do something.
The 10 wins are really fascinating. I think you should go through.
And well, no, it's like you basically, if I set my morning up where I don't have any questions to answer, and I jump out of bed, my shoes are ready, I put my shoes on, I walk outside, I head to my car, I go to a Starbucks, I get a Starbucks, I drive to the gym or whatever it is, I paddle around. I've been paddling a lot lately, so I just go and I paddle around. There's an island here and I paddle around it. It's a long paddle apparently. And but I connect with nature. That's what I've been finding, is that when I get exercise, there's this thing I called multi-basking, and it's like if you can find an exercise that handles everything. So stand-up paddleboarding on a downwinder, like a 14-foot board. It's nature. It's a crazy workout. I'm breathing. I'm balancing. All of it. It's right there. And I'm multi-basking. I'm covering so many bases at once, which is what I think skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing does. Is it also adds the joy to it. You're not just going to the gym.
Yep.
So if I do that in the morning, if I do all those things without looking at my phone, and I call it getting a hold of my brain before my brain gets a hold of me. So my body's first, and then I'm in control of my brain, versus if I get up in the morning and I look at my phone and I'm not conscious about what I'm doing, then people are asking me questions. I don't create a space. So right there, conversely, I will be in a bad space. And then if I do the other thing, I get up, I feel good, and I get my day going. And then as far as the feeling down or whatever, so I feel best in the morning after I do something, If I rest in the afternoon, there's this whole thing about men having a lot of people don't know this, but men have what's equivalent to a menstrual cycle, but daily.
Oh, wow.
Like it's not, I don't want to be disrespectful to women and cramps and all the gnarly shit they got to go through that I know nothing about, but there is this, every day we go through this miniature version of that. And in the afternoon we have this crash. It's like siesta.
Yeah.
And if I siesta, have a short little rest, and I don't make it bad, and I don't call myself a pussy, and I actually take rest, I end up having the second win. It's almost like I get a second day out of it. Like I've learned a lot of this stuff. I've learned a lot of this with Paul Check. Like you learn that there's really a lot of this stuff's really simple. And there's all this stuff about how our testosterone in the morning first thing is like there, and then it dips, and in the evening we get another little burst. Like all this stuff's very simple. And all this stuff about supplements and pills and coffee and all that shit is there to think you don't have the answers in yourself. And we're a lot more powerful creatures, think. But anyway, the long version. So the biggest difference is when I'm down, when I'm low, when I'm not feeling so good, frustrated, all that kind of stuff. First thing I do is I get curious, because guess what? We're human. We're going to get down. We're going to get frustrated. We're going to get tired, and I investigate what it is. And the biggest change for me, like I just came back from San Francisco, biggest change for me, I did this trip. I went to San Francisco back in a day, within 24 hours. I flew back. Man. And then I had this crash, and I was home and I was feeling like dizzy and all this stuff. And then it was when I was supposed to do that podcast.
Yeah.
And I came back and said, dude, I can't do it. I flaked on you. I disappeared because I was like, dude, I was barely hanging on. And I was just beating on myself. I didn't realize it until finally I just went, holy dude, maybe I just need to rest. And then the saying that Linda taught me, my friend Linda, was like, depressing. Don't say you're depressed. Say you're depressing.
Yep. And
that means that saying it like that is like, I'm doing it for some reason. And what it is my soul's telling me I need deep rest.
Yeah.
And I need
resting.
And as soon as I went,
nice, dude.
Oh, I'm starting to feel sick. Well, that would make sense because this is my body screaming at me.
Yep.
I went from 10 depressed to 2 feeling down a little bit. So it's about accepting the fact that I'm human.
Yeah, dude.
And going, oh yeah, this and this too. And this will pass. And not trying to be happy all the time. When people say that to me, like, I just want to be happy. I'm like, dude, that's the most unhappy people I've ever met. People want to be happy all the time. It's normal that a human is always opening or closing or going up or going down. We're never just going straight, I believe. We're energetic beings. We're moving towards, we're moving away, we're whatever. And so it's like just to get better with accepting of what's going on, not looking for the happy. And what I'm aiming for these days is 5. I want a 5 out of 10. I want to be at a 5.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was like, where's my heli?
Yeah.
10.
A 10 every day.
10 every day, all
forever.
day. Is that,
burn out.
We'd film for 7 days in the Whistler backcountry, psychopathic hours, and JP and I'd be driving straight for the ferry to go surf some random wave in my Zodiac
10.
And then fly back up 10. And then meanwhile my soul's going, hey bro, we're dying. And so that was another thing working with Paul, is like learning to value slow, learning to value that I need to rest. It's like learning to value that is huge. It's really good for life. I mean, think about it. The rest of my life, I'm like, I'm not chasing that 10 anymore. They'll happen, but I'm just like,
oh, it's so much better when they happen too, when you're just like allowing them to happen.
Yes, when they happen instead of trying to create them 24/7.
Because I mean, on a civilian level, life is set up so that I get a certain amount of holidays a year, right? When I didn't have a union job, I had a week or whatever. So that week was actually my curse, because I put everything, all my happiness is going to happen that week. Look, I can be miserable the whole 51 other weeks because I'm going to have a great fucking time. That
is what do you call it? That is culture 101. Like that's retirement right there.
Yeah.
When you retire.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's why I quit my job. That's why I quit my job.
I
didn't retire. I resigned.
Dude, it's like, no, it's like you basically were taught to work this job our whole lives to then eventually when we retire, then we can relax. And it's like, that's a bad look, dude, because you're going to be relaxing in the worst years of your life.
And
when
also,
you could actually
never learned how to relax.
No, and that's
because your relaxing week, right? Your weekend has been stressing about Monday.
Yeah.
Your holiday has been that moment. This is a Louis C.K. bit. You get the family into the car, you pack the trunk, you close the thing, the wife gets in, you shut the door. Your vacation is that moment where you're walking from that door back to your door.
Yeah.
That's the vacation.
That's the vacation.
Then you're
I love
back in the fucking car, and it's the worst moment. It's the worst week of your life.
Dude, totally.
So, I was not willing to keep going the way that I was going, because I knew from people like you, people like Damian Sanders, people like Steve Graham, and gaskets, knee braces. And,
dude.
And think about all the entrepreneurs we know, and storm saunas, and people that are working for themselves. I could easily go, like, I know 50 people who started businesses that were glad to get a Monday to Friday job where there was just a check rolling in, because not everybody can be good at business. It's fucking hard.
No, it's hard. It's a total skill. It's an art. That's what Mark Cuban says. He said, I'd rather work for myself for $50,000 a year than work for $500,000 a year for someone else.
Yeah. Because it's just soul crushing.
Yeah. It could be. It can be
soul crushing.
I just want to see something right now. See if I got a thing from Jim.
Well, why don't I look and see if I got any more questions from the listeners of the show. Buck Theo wants to know if there's a Big Speed podcast reboot.
Don't know what that is. So good.
Finboy84, how about imposter syndrome?
Who? Asking me?
Yeah, these are all questions for you. Old guy on the twalk just commented, beautiful. That's about your clip from Whiskey 2. Beautiful.
Imposter syndrome, that's a good one, dude, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you know, it's kind of different for me because it was never just about my snowboarding, but if you take like a someone from the forum team or anybody, and that really their whole thing was snowboarding, and someone's going, dude, you're so sick, except you're not doing it anymore. That would feed imposter syndrome.
Huge.
Or like it would feed like, yeah, thanks. Like, because I know those dudes, they're the real deal. Like, I'm sure that Devin or Duff or whoever doesn't like hearing that all the time because they're like, yeah, I was sick, but that gets old.
Sure.
Devin is so much more than just a snowboarder.
More. Oh, he's an incredible human being.
He's incredible. And same with Duff. Like, they're incredible.
Great friend.
And that's why they just need to rebrand.
How about this?
Because then it's like, you know.
How about this? Sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Now, you were a legend pro snowboarder, same thing. So you're talking from, you're preaching from experience. I was not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got an ice age yet. I was one of those guys. Okay, I was not. I can't hang. Okay. But who would you rather be? Top guy, Sean White, or the fucking most legit guy, Jeff Keenan? Who are you going to be? Who you choose? What life do you choose? If I could choose, I'm Keenan all the way, dude.
Yeah.
He was never the best. He wasn't Sean White. He didn't train in his own personal half pipe, but he was the best.
No, he's the real deal guy.
The best.
The real deal guy.
The best.
Yeah.
The best.
You know, I'll tell you something about that guy. He was my neighbor in Whistler, and it's been interesting, this whole thing with him, for me, him passing, because I remember, I'm like, man, why has this gotten to me? Like, this has gotten to me in a way I don't understand. I'll tell you what it was. I lived next to those guys. My dad died in my arms in my driveway in Whistler. They were my neighbors, okay? So they knew what happened. Whether they saw it, I think there was a nurse staying at their place that was the first one on my dad when he died or whatever. And I was pretty abusive to those guys. That was my job, I thought, was to be tough to blow those guys off and tell them to fuck off and whatever. And do all that stuff, and unconscious, whatever you want to call it. But I always remember Jeff came up to me at one point after that, and it was in all the noise that was probably going on in my head. I remember him looking at me, and it was like this old soul just looked at me and didn't care about any of the bullshit that I'd done or any of that stuff. And he just looked at me, and I remember those eyes in my mind right now. And he just looked at me. It's like, that guy was something else. I never said 5 words to that guy. And that guy was something else. I'll remember that look for the rest of my life. He was just looking at me, and it was, you know what it was? It was kindness. And it wasn't nice. It was kindness. Like, he saw me, he saw the pain, he saw everything. Like, the noise was turned down for a second. He just looked at me, and it was like there was no game, there was no act, and it was just kindness. And I remember it. And I was like, I have a different relationship with death than a lot of other people. I've been around a lot of it. And I actually think that my story around that is, and I don't know, so I mean, I could probably take heat for this, but what I've seen happen since his passing, I think his passing has saved lives, because those 600 people that got together at Seymour, the people that went to his thing, do you know how many people I've talked to that have been like reminded of that they need their community? I bet you there's so many people in there that got reminded that we need each other, and we are part of something. We're part of something bigger and better, and you need to nurture that shit, and you need to foster it. And that's what he's given to everybody. That's what, like, and I actually, this is going to sound weird, but I have a problem with someone saying he's gone, because he's not gone. Like, in his human form, he's gone, but look at all the people he's touched, and he's alive in every one of them. So is he gone? You know what I mean?
He's still doing the thing that he did with dynos and with his career and with his life. He's reminding us that this community, this weave fabric of all these people since the 60s until now.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, let's stop complaining about how lame snowboarding is now, because it's not. It's the same. It's the same. It was the same for Keenan the entire time. It's the same for me the entire time. If you go snowboarding, nothing's changed. There's nothing to complain about.
And get on your knees and thank whoever that we had this, because guess what? I just spent 15 years banging around a bunch of civilians who didn't have it, and I'm like, we would have been like, there's a part of my language I can't meet them at, because we can't. Like, I'm really excited about stepping back into sharing whatever I've learned with my community, which is, there's only two kinds of people I know of: goofy footers and regular. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's like, those are the only two people I can really, truly relate to in a body felt level sensation. And you know, I want to be very careful about this Keenan thing, because in our human experience, like I've co-led and have assisted a master in grieving workshops. So I have been around people when people die. So here's the thing: we got to grieve. We have to grieve the loss of this being will not be there in the same form that they are. So I'm not discrediting any of that. I'm not saying be light and spiritual bypass.
Right.
But what I am saying, in my humanity, he's gone, and in my soul knows he's all around us now. All around us, all the time, because every person I've talked to, you can feel them. Like, it's like, I'm like, holy, when a person's had that much influence on people, other people live it cellularly. And so it's like, I just, you know, grieve, yes. And don't forget that he's here too. Makes sense?
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, cool, I'm done.
FNRad shoutouts to Sean Stewart Kearns for his continued dedication to keeping it motherfucking real. Seriously, thank you, Sean. Thanks to you, the Patreon listeners, who support the show directly with your attention and your hard-earned cash. The stoke I feel when that money comes in is the best. Thanks all the listeners out there. The fundraising and draw for the PJ Gustafson Pro Model and bindings will take place in July. There's going to be tons of prizes. I got to reach out to all our sponsors and supporters for that. I just need to use ChatGPT so I know how to do it and don't get flagged this year. More details to follow soon. Thanks for listening to Season 10 of FNRad. Give us a follow on Patreon, where I'll be publishing some cool stuff over the summer, and I'll make sure to make most of it available for free to our free followers. You can sign up for free at patreon.com/FNRad. Pro Standard makes the grill mount the best mount for your Insta360 GoPro or DJI camera. It's a heat moldable mouth mount, tripod, hand grip, hook mount, bottle mount, wall mount, clamp mount, glove mount, and shoe mount, designed by snowboard legend Ken Ockenbach to get you the perfect angle for snowboarding, surfing, biking, and it'll replace 90% of your other mounts. Use code FNRAD to get 20 off your first order at prostandard.com.